Series practice and qualifying. After a week off, the garage area ready to get back to work in a 14-week run to Championship Sunday in Miami, Florida. Hi, everyone, and welcome in. Marty Snyder, joined by the soon-to-be Hall of Famer Jeff Burton and our crew chief, Steve Letarte. Iowa Speedway, Steve, is a short track, and what kind of challenge does it bring crew chiefs and drivers?
Well, I question you, is it a short track? By definition, yes, 7/8 of a mile. But when I talk in the garage, it's either a really fast short track or a really short intermediate track. It's a little bit of a Frankenstein. It's 7/8 of a mile. It looks like Richmond from the sky, but even from the TV booth, it looks so much larger, Jeff. It's kind of that mix somewhere in the middle. So the challenge is this mixture of speed and overall grip.
Yeah, and this place is rough. I mean, the front straightaways are rough. The bump into turn one is a problem for all the cars. We saw a lot of wrecks here last year because of that. But this racetrack, to me, is one of the most fun tracks we go. It's good racing, and the fan base here is always fired up. It's just a really good racetrack to be at.
You know, it's unique because it's just one session today, 50-minute practice session, Steve, and this is kind of going to be the norm moving forward in a couple of weeks. So 50 minutes for all the cars and 2 sets of tires. So what challenges does that present, and then also what opportunities does it present?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, a precursor will start this from New Hampshire on. It's a little bit more efficient use of time, right? Same amount on the clock, being 50 minutes, but not separated into sessions. So 2 sets is really the big thing for me, Jeff. As a crew chief, now if I unload, I may be a little bit more aggressive with my setup or changes or approaches, because if I'm wrong, I could come in, I could readjust, give you a second set of tires, and then re-enter the racetrack or the weekend like we normally would. I think that's the key more than the time, is the extra set of tires.
We've heard a lot of drivers and teams talk about we want more practice, want more track time. This gives those teams and drivers, think about young drivers trying to figure it out, gives them more time. I agree with Steve, though. I think that second set of tires is the biggest part, because if you are trying something as a driver and you got real old tires on, what are you learning? If you're trying something as a team with old tires, what are you learning? Second set of tires gives you a chance to make changes and continue to learn throughout the entire practice.
So, Jeff, just 4 races left in the regular season before the chase starts. So as we look at the regular season standings, kind of what jumps out to you?
Well, I think how competitive it is from 5th to 10th, right? You know, that is unbelievably competitive. There are a lot of positions that can change, and those points matter a great deal. Great race right there.
Yeah, what old is new again, right? With the return of the chase, we were a little unsure of what it would feel like. But I think for me, Marty, have I really underestimated how much you can move in the points with the addition of stage points and that extra 20 points for winning a race. Jeff talked about how close it was. Well, even at the cut line at 38 points, that can easily be overcome with a great day, and I think that's available. The question is, that's the biggest margin we have seen all year. So will that 38 points continue to grow? Will this be decided by Daytona, or will we still see a battle at the cut line as well as that battle inside the tent for that seating situation?
That's exactly right. As Christopher Bell pointed out to me, hey, man, we're in 10th, but there's only 29 points between us and 5th place, so there's a lot of things that can happen here in these 4 weeks. Mamba Smith, Dave Burns joining us on pit road. And Mamba, I believe you have Ross Chastain.
Yes, I do. And first of all, Ross, I just want to let you know, you look great today. The fire suit and the car looks awesome. Real agriculture, you know, for a farmer out here.
Yeah, it's why I get along with Busch Light so well. Not only the beer after the weekend, after we're done racing, but their support for the farmers. In this agriculture can it's for the farmers. So yeah, I do want to take a quick minute and say that I'm missing a celebration of life back home. The guy that gave me my first race truck to drive, let my dad come borrow it. I say borrow. We got it out of the bushes at his house, but Dennis Rockenhouse, we lost him recently, and all of North Fort Myers and Alva is celebrating him today back home. So just thinking about that, how pivotal he was in my career to give my dad that race truck to let us go race at our local track, and then that truck still raced years after I got out of it, and we got a different one. But just thinking about Dennis and the entire Rockenhouse family. But back to the racetrack, where he loved to be because he was a racer as well. Yeah, this is our territory out here. This is Busch Light country, and proud to be in the one today.
Now, really quick, I talked to Brandon McSwain, your crew chief. I said, did the break hit you guys right when you needed to refocus and get everything aligned? He felt like so. Is that the same for you? Do you feel like that break came at the right time for you guys to get focused for the last 4 races before the chase?
It's too many points. I mean, I just want to go fast. The points just seem insurmountable with the speed we have. So if it's 80 points, 180 points, or if it was 8 points to the good, with our speed, it's not going to make it even if you just reset us for 4 races. So it starts right here in practice and the prep we've done over the break to be ready for Iowa and see if we can be faster. That's step 1.
Dave, the one guys are looking to go fast today. What do you got?
So one guy who is 38 points below the chase cut line right now is Ryan Preece, the first driver on the outside of the chase looking in. His car is here in plenty of time for practice, but they were one of the last ones through tech, having failed twice. They lost their crew chief for the car chief for the weekend and their pit selection. NASCAR will assign their pit stall for them. The good news is they went through on the 3rd time and they made it. I talked to Ryan just before he jumped into the car. He said Iowa is one of my favorite tracks. You know he's a short track specialist, and the next 3 actually played right into their hands to gain points, to pile in the points bucket, and to get them to the chase. So just a little hiccup today, but Ryan Preece very confident about this weekend and the weeks going forward, Marty.
Steve, losing the pit stall selection at a short track like Iowa, concerning?
Well, you know, the truth is it's concerning, but we don't really know until after qualifying, and the rest of the pits will be picked. So as Dave said, NASCAR will assign what they believe is the, not an advantageous, a stall that's usually chose last, but who gets around him. And that's really a result of qualifying. So yes, nerve-wracking. Is it a big penalty? Only time will tell.
Jeff riding on board with Chase Briscoe here. You talked about how rough this place is. We can get a good view of that right now.
Yeah, that's a great shot. Watch his helmet. The straights are really rough. The entrance to the corner, big bumps. Middle 3 and 4 right here coming on the front straightaway. Watch as he enters turn 1. This is where you hear the car bottoming out right there. It's a really tough place for that big bump to be because you need the car to turn in the middle of the corner, which means the car's going to have to be a little bit loose on corner entry. And when you enter the corner and it's loose, that is a handful. Watch how much this car moves, Steve.
Just a big hop right there. And it's as you're turning, a lot of things going on.
Had a great conversation with Ryan Blaney this week about that bump. And he's been really good at this racetrack. And I asked him why, and he felt like that bump was a big reason. He felt like everybody in the garage knows that Ryan Blaney likes to drive a car with the back end kind of hung out on it. So he can tolerate that loose feeling on corner entry, get through that bump. And then when he gets down into the corner, now his car turns better because the car is turned. But he also told me in the race last year, about every 10th lap, he felt like he was getting ready to wreck. He would hit that bump wrong and he was sideways. He said this entire race you have to have complete concentration and focus.
The first Iowa race for the Cup Series won by Ryan Blaney, Steve.
Well, it's funny about Team Penske. They seem to always show up at the short tracks. And you see how dark the corners are back there in 2024. They've been repaved. And, Jeff, you talked about the bumps. Once you get down in the corner, it's pretty smooth. But Ryan Blaney, his dad Dave in the crowd.
His mom Lisa is from Iowa, so he always has a big family contingent here at the Iowa Speedway. You mentioned repaving, Steve. They announced the 3rd straight sellout for Iowa Speedway, and then they promptly said, hey, we'll be back in July 4th next year with a new pavement. So we're going to repave the entire place this time.
Yeah, so the corners, they've almost been bleached with the sun where it's not as obvious where the repave is, but the entire track will be done, as you pointed out, Marty. And, Jeff, this is my 3rd trip to Iowa as well. And you mentioned the crowd at the top of our show here. And even yesterday for the ARCA race, just this place always delivers a really impressive, passionate group of race fans.
Some pretty big changes coming to this racetrack, not just the pavement, a lot of upgrading to the fan facilities, big upgrade coming just so the fans have a better opportunity to enjoy this racetrack. That's a good sign, too, because that tells me we're going to be coming here for a little while.
Bubba Wallace fastest so far early in this practice session.
Yeah, and more than just a lap. He's on top of the 5-lap and the 10-lap average. And, that bodes well for the driver of the 23. He always struck me. It's weird because he has such good speed at Kansas and he runs well at Talladega, but maybe it's his truck success at Martinsville. When I think Bubba Wallace, I think short track racer. The stats maybe don't completely agree with that, but just kind of what we've expected or where maybe he came from in his driving success.
To your point, Steve, there you see that 5-lap average, bottom part of the pylon with Wallace on top. If you flip that 10-lap average up as well, he would be there on top on that as well.
Yeah, I think really this team's just looking for some consistency. You know, when you look at the last handful of tracks, 28th at Indy, a 6th at Wilkesboro, 29th in Atlanta, 6th at Chicago, 22nd at, like, it's a roller coaster, up and down. I think they're just looking to try to quiet that noise.
I talked to Charles DeNike about that this morning, and he said, listen, we have given up so many points late in races. Indy, a great example, Steve. They were on track for a top 10, kind of slid through a stall on that last stop of the day and ruined what was going to be a good finish.
Am I crazy, or did every conversation in the garage this weekend somehow turn to points, even if I didn't steer it there? I don't know if the off week got everybody kind of thumbing through the points, but there's been a lot of points we could have or should have or might have in our bucket.
Hey, someone else is pretty quick right now. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., his 47 car. It's in their 8th fastest, but also top 10 in overall average.
Well, Jeff, you know, you've won at many different tracks in your career. You and I always talk about racetracks that kind of suit your eye or your feel, much like a golf hole will suit a golfer. You know, for Ricky, those 3 series wins, 3 times he's won here in other series, O'Reilly and trucks. You know, he runs so much success in O'Reilly here. I wonder if that carries over in the Cup car. I know it sounds crazy, but just walking into the facility of a place that you remember winning.
Hey, we had 3 wins here in O'Reilly, you know, and you got to take that first Cup race here as well. Finish 5th in that race too, Steve. So I think he feels very comfortable with what Iowa is. Dave?
Marty talked to Mike Kelly standing in the tech line early this morning. He said this 47 team's fairly confident coming in here for the reasons you just listed. I said, how do you want to split your 50 minutes? He goes, well, I think it's like a lot of teams. We want to make sure we get the car right for Ricky, and then we want to get a long run at the end. They said, we don't want to go on any limbs here. We want to make it right, comfortable, something that he can race. So don't expect them to do what you call a mock qualifying run or anything like that. 2 good race runs, and especially a long race run to end practice.
Can I just give a shout out to our director, Sean Owens? I mean, that drone shot of Ricky just come down pit road looks so cool, doesn't it? That drone, and Steven and Caleb running that drone for us. That's going to be cool this weekend here at Iowa. Going to be a little toasty on Sunday, by the way, with 105 heat index for these drivers to deal with, Jeff.
Kyle Larson to the top of the board on speed. Pretty interested right now. This is something that I find interesting at every racetrack. Kyle Larson first, Reddick second, Nemechek third, Bowman fifth, Chastain sixth. They all just went out on the racetrack. Normally we see a lot of times the racetrack's fastest as soon as it opens. These guys sat there and waited. Remember, we were interviewing Chastain when cars were on the racetrack. Some of these guys just sat there and waited, and actually the track is faster now than it was when practice first started. Why does that matter? It matters because it shows you that this racetrack is going to change. This is different rubber than what the O'Reilly's cars had on, and so for whatever reason, Steve, even though the track tips up, the cars went better as this rubber got laid on the racetrack.
Yeah, a lot of questions that need to be answered today, as now we have Ty Gibbs jump to the top of the board. To Jeff, to your point, right? New car on the racetrack, only the second lap. Top of the sheet. One big question for me and for the garage is this new left side tire. Will it promote some tire degradation, some fall off, some loss of grip? This is a racetrack that we've seen lap after lap, very consistent lap times, which means strategy, as always, very important. But it's going to be interesting to see if this new left side tire makes it where that changes much at all.
Chastain, you can see, watch his hand movement as he enters these corners. That's pretty steady, but the few laps before that, he had his hands full on corner entry. You saw a lot of wheel input. Let's ride along here and see what he does in turn 1. You saw him run through that bump and his hands moved.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
He has his hands full right here.
He's on the button. Left hand, got right to the radio button after that big correction.
Pit, 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 pit.
Well, and Jeff, drivers will tell you, it is sketchy here, start to finish on a run at Iowa. Doesn't matter, old tires, new tires, it is a tough racetrack for these drivers.
That's why it's fun to watch. We want to see these drivers push to their limit. We want to see them having to drive the car like Ross is having to drive this car right now.
I want to keep running. I'll lose, but I want to see where it goes.
All right, so to me, Steve, that is the kind of conversations that drivers and teams have to have before practice starts. He's not happy with his car. Why doesn't he pit, right? Doesn't he just come in? he knows if he comes in, the tires are going to cycle. Watch this. Big bump, another big bump. Through that first big bump, massive wheel input.
He's turning dead right there in the middle of 1 and 2.
Yeah, and he said he was loose, and you can see it. And that bump is in the worst place it can be. Cars unloaded.
So, Steve, if you're Brandon McSwain, are you like, it's cool, we got another set of tires here, we can run through this set, an advantage we wouldn't have had most of the year, but now we have another set to go try.
Well, and you see, though, the Chastain hasn't come in. You know, so even with that big correction, he still continues to run. I've really been watching his right hand. This is a track where last year most guys stayed in 4th gear. I'm going to see right here is the shifter. You know, it's hard to tell because it's a black handle. Right hand stays on the wheel. From the other view, he reached down. I couldn't tell if he was adjusting this brake bias, which is the knob right there, or whether it was the shifter handle. So right there, oh yeah, nope. That was some sort of an adjustment, but I can't tell what he's flipping. He's flipping some switches.
He's got his Busch Light hat wrapped around that shifter. Make sure he knows where that is when he gets out of the car.
Yeah.
Ty Gibbs fastest here in practice early in Iowa.
Ford Mustang. He's racing around Michael McDowell on the racetrack. But watching Ryan Blaney diving off into turn number 1, he'll take the low line. The car will swing out wide, about the middle of the racetrack off 2. And then he gets that good run down the back straightaway. And then he'll angle and ease into the bottom of turn number 3. Ryan Blaney has won here before. This, to me, is a Ryan Blaney style racetrack.
Yeah, he won our inaugural Cup race here. I think he finished 4th last year. Yeah, this is one where you got to drive it. You got to be up on a wheel. And Ryan Blaney, his hand speed, his ability to just get speed out of race cars, it's a pretty good place. And short track racing has been a staple for Team Penske.
Big moment off turn 2 for Tyler Reddick. He nearly put that car in the outside wall, nearly spun it halfway down the back chute, and he quickly, Mike, is going to bring that car to the pit lane and say, oh, okay, we got to change something here.
She was kicked out about 25 degrees to the starboard coming off turn 2. That car was sideways, and he was able to reel that car back in and make it back to the pit lane. That was a close call for Tyler Reddick. One of the faster cars here in the early reaches of practice. He's 6th right now on single lap speeds.
Well, let's go back to the Ryan Blaney discussion, because Blaney went out and ran 11 consecutive laps. Came back in, they made an adjustment or two on the race car, and went right back out on the track, and he's rocketed back up into the top 3, has Blaney. He's gone to the number 3 spot.
Yeah, he's done a good job, and it looks like he's got good pace. I've seen his fastest lap was a 24.0. He was running teens pretty regularly, sitting on the back of the 43 car, I think, of Eric Jones, and just got by him and working forward.
Steve Post?
Yeah, Ryan Blaney, pretty good at Iowa. Not a shocker, that's for sure. He won the inaugural race here 2 years ago. Last year he finished in the 4th spot, and they had a minor adjustment they wanted to make on the car. They decided they still want to work with this first set of tires. They haven't changed their tires yet. Jonathan Hassler, they feel like they're close with the car. They made that one minor adjustment, and really, really encouraging that car went out and still had speed. And as a matter of fact, maybe is a little bit better over the course of this longer run. So minor tuning, minor work on it. I would suspect then once they get to a spot where they're comfortable, Jonathan Hassler will bring them in, and maybe they'll come in and do like that 20-lap run that you talked about, Todd. But right now, Ryan Blaney feeling pretty good about his race car and rolling around this racetrack, which has been awful good to him over the course of time.
Looking at the 15 consecutive lap averages, Ty Gibbs is the best right now in 15 consecutive laps, but Jason Toy, Ross Chastain is in the top 3 as well, and it looks like he's having a pretty good practice session here early on.
Yeah, definitely, indeed. And, we talked about it. We talked to Ross right before he went out that they were one of the last drivers to go. Matter of fact, he was the last one to actually get into the race car, and it's paid off so far. Now, when the driver's behind the wheel, he's the quarterback. Quarterbacks will call audibles. Ross did that. They were going to go out for 10 laps. They asked him, which direction do you want to go? Do you want to come back in? We'll do adjustments, or go back or stay out. Ross made the call. Instead of doing the 10 laps, he said, let's go 35. Let's see how the track rubbers in a little bit more and see how if it gets a little bit more comfortable, especially getting on and off the corners. So making that change through the practice session here so far seems to be going the way they want to for Ross Chastain, and he's able to relay some of those notes to his teammates here in Connor Zilic as well as Shane Van Gisbergen.
Long run right here, so he spaced himself to the car in front of him just to give himself cleaner racetrack just so he can learn more about what his race car is doing. I know people at home are like, yeah, but you are in traffic all the time. Why don't you get your car to drive like that? However, if you're trying to really understand what your car needs, the best way to learn that is indeed in clean air. You got to find dirty air at some point to understand what your car drives like, but if you really want to get the best out of your car, learning what he can and cannot do, what he's doing right here makes a lot of sense.
We talked a lot about tire fall off. Well, the 19th lap of Ty Gibbs, it would be basically 20th on the board. So some cars slowing down, Mamba, but the 54 of Ty Gibbs seems to be holding a pretty steady pace even with a new left side tire.
Yeah, that's right, Steve. I'm also watching Josh Berry in the 21. He's actually been on the racetrack for a very long time, 36 laps on this set of tires, and he's still in the 24-20 bracket. He just moved back to his 36, but he was in the top 10 when it comes to lap average. But also, Jeff, we know that this driver is going to be moving on. You know he wants to get a good run. How do you put that together and to have a good rest of your season when you know you're kind of moving on to a different team?
Well, it's important to show the world that you can run fast, you can have lap time. And look, you're upset that you've lost your ride, but you also are appreciative that you were given the opportunity, and you want to do everything you can to end the year, you know, running as well as you can, because it's selfishly good for you. And it's also good for the team. And, you know, we've seen breakups end poorly, and we've seen them in, you know, with class and dignity. And I would imagine that's how this one's going to happen. And, you know, Josh knows that he needs to give the Wood brothers the best opportunity they can to have the best rest of the year. And Josh wants to ride next year too. Like, show the world he can do it.
And Steve, I think it speaks volumes about Josh and this team. They go out and have a season best finish at Indianapolis in 7th.
Yeah, like Jeff said, it's, you know, he's auditioning for potential suitors to go drive their other car. The Wood brothers has been a first-class operation for decades in this sport. You wouldn't expect anything different for them.
Josh going to bring the 21 to pit road here.
I will say, bad habits for at least me when you only get 20 minutes of practice. 50 minutes is long. 31 minutes still to go. 77 of Carson Hocevar, 35th on the board, Dave. Pretty shocking for that car.
On the opposite plan of Josh Berry, he just left pit road to come back and try to lay down laps that are better than he's had so far. You mentioned where he ranks. Whoa, that was a nice catch right there. Here's his radio before they started working on the 77.
It drives like not good. I can't drive it any harder. I can't do anything. I can't move off the bottom, and I barely move off the bottom. I'm gonna wreck, and I just keep wasting my time running laps because I'm on the verge of wrecking everywhere.
And now it looks like that 3 and 4 area. Boy, that is a tough spot every lap now for Carson Hocevar. Steve, the tools at the disposal of this race team and all the others up and down pit road. You're not changing parts and pieces during this practice, but there's a lot you can do to try to correct that, right?
Yeah, so these cars are practicing off from pit roads. Even with the extended practice, these cars are technically, by NASCAR definition, impounded, meaning you can't change parts and pieces, as Dave mentioned, but you could still change a tremendous amount with the setup. You could change front height, rear height, bar stiffness by changing the angle of the way it's connected to the car. Lots of things to still adjust. You could shift the balance dramatically. You just can't change certain fixed parts.
Loose into 3.
She's talking about being loose. The back of the car just isn't making the grip that he needs it to make. And you can see right there, that little wiggle. That's the rear tires losing grip. This racetrack is so fun because it's, even the good handling car drives bad.
I was going to say, it's interesting to me, Steve, because the 77, and I know they're different racetracks, different tire, all that, they were so fast, especially early in the run at North Wilkesboro, the last short track just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, but I think that's what we were talking about. You know, this is almost a small intermediate. You know, when I think of Wilkesboro, that's a classic short track. This is 7/8 of a mile, nearly 160 miles an hour down the front straightaway. You do have some braking. It has the characteristics of a short track, but, you know, they definitely have different identities.
Tell you what, top of the chart's been a moving target lately. Austin Cindric just goes fastest.
I'm sure he put his second set of tires on. Fastest lap was lap 25.
That's going to be an interesting question I have. Are they on their second set of tires, Jeff, or do these tires cycle that much faster? I can't believe they would. To your point, I believe it's a second set. But there are other cars that have their fast laps in the teens. Yep. And that would shock me if that's the second set of tires. But maybe, you know, the truth is, Jeff, the teams are learning how to practice a game with 2 sets of tires because it's new. And we as you know, broadcasters are going to kind of have to learn the tendencies of pit road.
You know, they went a 23.77, which is 2.5 tenths faster than Hamlin, who, you know, on his, you know, that was his 3rd lap. But yeah, I don't know. That's a big split right there.
It is.
For me to think it's not their second set of tires. But as you said, anytime there's a tire change, you never really know. If you can go that fast on older tires, that will change the game from a strategy standpoint. We have some great pit road reporters. I bet they can find out.
That 2 team just doing what they need to do, staying above the cut line now, plus 38. That's the best advantage they've had over the cut line all year. And they just keep gaining the points they need to gain every week now with 4 races left before the chase. John Hunter Nemechek in the top 5 on speed as well. Having a nice Iowa outing so far.
This team continues to show improvement. Legacy, looks like they start to show improvement, you know, and they almost take 2 steps forward and then 1 step back, right? It's a steady improvement, which, to be honest with you, I like to see. You know, I always get nervous when teams just are running poorly and all of a sudden they start running great. Like, how did that happen, right? But this team has been, you know, digging themselves out of that hole.
Got a red flag on the we got Chase Elliott
backed in the fence, or at least touching it. We'll have to see if there's damage to the race car.
Gonna have left rear damage and left front damage for sure.
There you go. That's that entrance in turn 1. I guarantee this starts over the bumps into 1. We saw this last year in practice, and even when they wrecked late in the corner, you know, it kind of starts over the bump. Even if that isn't the start of the accident, you get out of position. Let's see what happens to Chase here exactly. Already sideways kind of right here coming into sight.
Yeah,
big save.
You called it, Steve. He was loose. As soon as we came to him, the back of the car was starting to come around.
He wrecked a quarter mile ago. He just spun, you know, just took that long to finally come around.
Even before that, they were just 28th fastest with a 9-car, Jeff.
But that, you know, that's what Blaney told me. He was really fast in last year's race, and he said every 10th lap or so he'd go through there, and he's like, oh no, I'm wrecking. And it's a massive challenge for these drivers in these cars at this racetrack. That bump is just in the worst possible place.
Tell you what, this is a race team that's not on a good streak right now. 8 straight races without a top 10. Chase Elliott has never gone in his career 9 straight races without a top 10 finish.
Oh,
here's on board.
Yeah, listen. Looked reasonably secure over the bump, but then it just got super loose.
You heard it bottom out.
Yeah.
So
results the same, whatever exactly the cause was.
Listen to that. But well before he actually spun out, you heard that thing bottom out, and it makes me wonder, did he have tires on, low air pressure, hit the bump harder? He had just come out on the racetrack. We did confirm the 2-car did have stickers when he made his run.
Steve, how about that damage on the 9 there on the left rear?
Repairable for sure. They'll probably qualify to try to get a pit stall pick and then make some changes to the bodywork. It's amazing what these teams can actually change in the garage.
Meanwhile, his teammate William Byron, winner here last year. Been pretty good at Iowa. Top 2 in both of the races here. He too, you see him fighting that loose, Jeff. Man, it's crazy how on edge these cars are. Here's that victory last year for William Byron at the Iowa Speedway. Rudy Fugle, kind of Steve played the strategy, pitted really before he could make it to the end, got a lot of cautions at the end, and William was able to haul it off everybody.
Yeah, I think you're going to see much the same this year. Try to, find a way to get some track position.
That is a team that kind of needs some good momentum for sure.
Well, we talk about his win. We maybe glanced over the fact that he was second in the first one, right? So
yeah, yeah,
it's his numbers here.
Byron certainly going to be one of the ones to beat tomorrow afternoon here at the Iowa Speedway. Austin Cindric still quickest.
A sale that's hanging out there a little bit where it says parts and Napa Auto Parts. So definitely some cosmetic damage. Don't know if they'll have to go to a backup, but definitely have to be doing some work on this one here, especially when they get ready to go back out for qualifying.
So Chase Elliott, the only driver in peril so far in this practice session. The car did not go to the garage. It'll stay on the pit lane. They're going to tend to it there and see what they can do. And we'll see what they can do as far as qualifying once they give her the once-over, as it were.
Even if they have to do a bumper replacement or bumper fascia replacement, if they can get their qualifying effort in, if they can come out with a top 10, top 15 qualifying effort, that's still pit selection. That impacts the race. Even if they have to go to the back and do unapproved adjustments by cleaning this thing up come race time, I think it's to still stay out and get that opportunity to go qualify. There's something to be gained of it.
Chase Elliott is on an 8 consecutive race streak without a top 10 finish. In his Cup Series career, he's never gone 9 consecutive without a top 10 finish. So to say it's been a tale of 2 seasons for Chase Elliott and that 9 team, they won early on. They've had a lot of top 10s, and then over the last 11 races, it has been a struggle, to say the least, for the 9 car.
We had a conversation this morning in our production meeting and even back at the hotel about Hendrick Motorsports in 2026, and it just doesn't seem like a Hendrick Motorsports year. Is it that, or is it that it is a decent season, but it's the Toyotas and Joe Gibbs Racing that makes it look like the struggles are worse than what they are?
Yes, all the above. I think in a lot of ways, the Toyotas really have a good grasp on where they are, and this is multiple years into their aero package, and they've got a good package all the way around. It runs everywhere. Chevrolet put a new Camaro body together. They felt like this opened their opportunity to be better places, but there's a learning curve attached to it. And oh, by the way, we have 3 different aero packages. We have the Super Speedway aero package that we run at Daytona, Echo Park Speedway, and Talladega. We have the intermediate aero package, the more robust diffuser and spoiler that works with that. And then we have the simple diffuser package. You've got a different aero packages. This isn't, we're 20 races, 20 some races in, 22 races in, but it's not 22 races on the same aero package. You're having to build a notebook for each of these aero packages. You're still single digits on all of them. It's a learning curve.
As far as the number of laps run, 50 laps have been run by Michael McDowell here in this practice session. He's won better than Eric Jones, who's won 49 laps so far in this 50-minute practice session. Ryan Blaney's put up 43 circuits. Shane Van Gisbergen also right at the 43 lap mark as well. Cody Ware's in the top 5 in laps in practice as well. But it comes down to agenda, Mike. You can run as many laps as you want. Get an idea where your balance is going to be, long runs, while others say, hey, you know what? Hey, something doesn't feel good here. We only ran 8 or 9, 10 laps. Bring it in. Let's make an adjustment. Go back out. Another 8 or 10 laps and come back in.
And this is a taste of what we're going to get for the rest of the year, beginning at New Hampshire. If you're new to NASCAR racing, coming up to this weekend, except for Daytona and Talladega and the road courses, you get 2 groups of cars, 25 minutes each. Now it's everybody in the pool. Everybody gets 50 minutes. Next weekend we'll go back to groups at Richmond, but NASCAR announces that everybody gets 50 minutes and a second set of tires beginning at New Hampshire. Now the question is, will the
This so far hasn't been great. I mean, we just ran his fastest lap just a little while ago, moved up to 19th. But prior to that, it's been a struggle. Their long-run speed did not look good, but this last change, Steve, may have made the car better.
And just to circle back to the tire conversation, let's just go through the day. Long practice, then qualifying. You do not have to put fuel in for qualifying. You can qualify low on fuel. So a lot of the strategy of this team, of all these teams, are to run, in years past, when you put brand new tires on, you would fill it up to get a good car balance. I don't think I would as a crew chief. I know that sounds crazy, but I want to qualify with the least amount of fuel possible for total weight and aero balance. It helps the balance of the car having more weight on the nose. I know it's a lot to unpack, but that makes these practices very hard to kind of dissect. But one thing we did expect coming here to Iowa were some brake issues, or at least challenges. It's a very fast racetrack. Remember, we're back with more horsepower than ever, which means we're faster down the straightaways. We got to get on the brakes. And the 11 seems like they're doing some brake work. Let's listen in.
I'm to the floor. Yeah, I'm all the way to the floor now. Did not fix it. No, I can't do that. To the floor.
Copy. You can bring it to us and let's bleed them then.
All right, so let's bleed them. Two, when we talk about brake issues, two very specific issues that are very separate. One, brake shake, which normally means you are not getting the brakes warm enough. You step on the pedal, the car itself vibrates. The other one is the old school, too hot, pedal to the floor, and you see this, all the stuff right here, fluid in the bleeder bottles, right? So when you get very, very warm, any air in the system, any moisture in the system instantly turns into steam. The pedal gets very long. I don't think you're actually boiling the fluid anymore. That's a little over the top. This stuff anymore is pretty high end. But all the deficiencies in the system become a big issue at high temperatures, and that's what Denny's talking about.
His teammate, Chase Briscoe. What's going on with the 19, Dave?
You can see him in the corner of the picture there. There's Chase waiting inside the car. Here was his radio before he brought it to pit road.
I don't know. I'm literally into 3 that lap and into 1 there. My brake pedal is like literally on the floorboard all of a sudden. Like I'm talking in like full leg extension. Yeah, boy, just ease it around here.
So when I checked in with the team after he had gone back out again, I said, did you solve the brake issues? They said, we are working on it. A little frustrating right now, Steve.
Yeah, it's 2 Gibbs cars, 2 brake issues, so you wonder if, you know, pad combination is adjustable by teams. You could run too aggressive of a pad. You can cool the brakes. It's hard to see right here. I'm going to zoom in real quick on the right side. So there you go, right? You're going to see basically on the right. Let me try that again. It's like my first time ever using the Telestrator. But you see right there, there's the cooling, right? The upper hole 3/4 open. The bottom one is just barely open right there. You can see this is a little sliver. So that right there, one cools the caliper, one cools the rotor itself where the air is fed, depending on the pad you run and all. You know, there's a lot that goes into that decision. So we'll have to just see if that gets adjusted or if they feel bleeding them will be enough. But this is going to be a story for the whole garage area. Remember, we're practicing right now. Get Meyer back in 22nd in practice, you know, in traffic, stomping on that brake pedal. When your car gets tight on 80-lap tires, you will start to really cook the brakes.
Yeah, it's interesting. We saw a few brake issues at North Wilkesboro a couple of weeks ago. Do the outside ambient temperatures have anything to do with it at all, Steve, or not?
Well, listen, hot air cools poorly. I mean, I'm not trying to be silly, but it's true, right? Like, you know, hot air cools poorly. All right, I want to go back to this one car. We talked about shifting, and I'm going to zoom in on this as well. And so I want to, that is not the shifter. The shifter is right here. This lever right here, I believe, I don't know this to be true, is adjusting this knob, which is brake bias. So watch when he pushes that lever, if it changes the brake bias. Currently, the brake bias has a little yellow dot right there, kind of at, I don't know, I'll call it 10 o'clock on a clock. Normally you have to reach up and turn that knob. Not a lot of time here at the straightaway. I'm going to back this back out. So let's watch if we can get another brake adjustment. We might not be that fortunate, but it seems like he can push and pull on that lever and move his brake bias forward or rearward. I'm going to tell you, bravo, Trackhouse. If that is what's going on right there, you want to talk about a driver-friendly adjustment, Jeff, that seems way more ergonomical and less complicated for the driver.
Yeah, we see it on road courses all the time, where if you're driving into turn 1 at Watkins Glen, you want a different brake bias than you do at the other parts of the racetrack. And in the past, we've seen drivers have to literally grab a knob and like twist it. If indeed that's what this is, where you can just push a knob, that is way more efficient.
And it would make more sense. You could drive brake to the front or drive brake to the rear, depending on what the driver wants to do. Can we make a driver-friendly adjustment, Steve, and help that 99.6 degree temperature inside the car?
99 is a comfort, man. Man, you want to be a driver.
Come on, man.
You want to be cool, sit on a pit box.
And it's going to be like, 20 degrees warmer tomorrow, too,
No,
by the
but
way.
to your point, coming off the off week, not joking about this, you can't just start drinking water today. If you didn't start earlier, front disc coming out, James Small going for the strongman run right here. Brand new disc coming on the 19.
And you wonder if it's a different disc. Right?
That's exactly right.
It's not just a new product, it's a different product.
There's two options. Two options, like light duty, heavy duty, and there's also, to go right down into the weeds here, you can also band, which means same disc. You can limit how much air goes through the rotor by putting, think of the metal bands that come on like shipping containers.
Yeah, sure.
You gotta cut that, wrap it around the inside of the disc, and it limits the air going through. So there's a lot of different ways to cool these things. But either way, work being done to the 19 car. And you wonder if this is something with longer practice, if they say, hey, let's try this. I don't know. James and I are going to have a conversation later. He may not tell me.
But there's only 15 minutes to go in this session, Steve. So is this a change for qualifying that they're going to make here?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, they're really easy to change before you make laps. And really uncomfortable. Really uncomfortable. These mechanics right here, you want to be a mechanic in the NASCAR Cup Series garage, you're going to have to be tough. And really, this is a scary proposition to have to change these brakes.
Well, and let's give a shout out. You see Chris Sherwood there, the car chief for Christopher Bell's car. Wesley Lape, the interior mechanic for Christopher Bell's car, over there helping out the 19 guys. So it's kind of all hands on deck here, at least for the 19 bunch of Joe Gibbs Racing. And when you talk temperature, Steve, you're talking a rotor temp of what?
Probably a disc temp on the racetrack in the 1,500 degrees.
Oh.
They cool relatively quick when they down to like 1,000 when they come in.
Yeah, just 1,000.
But my point, I will tell you this. When something gets above 700 or 800 degrees and you touch it, you don't know if it's 700 or 2,000. It's an instant searing burn. As a guy who's done it, like it is an instant. It is not a sunburn. You touch it, and it is you have cooked. Whatever part of your hand has touched that is cooked.
Can you wear enough gloves?
No, and not to touch something like that. I mean, yes, kind of, but really what you do is try to clamp it with either rotors or pliers or put like screwdrivers in either side and pull it off. You don't really, grabbing the rotor is not really an option.
My experience also, it's the same medicine for 700 degrees or 1,400 degrees.
I want to tell you, how about a shout out to the $1 Million Man?
Absolutely.
He won the in-season challenge, won the $1 million at Indianapolis, had a weekend off. I played some golf with him, tried to figure out how much of the million he was going to try to give away. He was very proud of his entire team. They shared it with the crew, shared it with him, his pit crew. I was happy to hear it. But the 34 of Gillen, 8th currently right now, looks really good here. I know how much effort they put into this Indianapolis effort. I know it's not what they were looking for. They got a little fortunate with Blaney's wreck, but that's part of it, Jeff.
That is part of it. And on top of all that, remember he signed a contract extension just a few weeks ago, and he went on vacation and didn't pay for anything.
Well, he took your son with him.
That's
he had to pay for everything.
That's how I know. Like, what the heck?
Gets the trophy there, the $1 million in-season challenge.
It's good.
Congratulations to that team. And let's give credit to, the team gave bonuses to everybody in the entire shop. I thought that was so cool that they all got bonuses, and they had a party at Todd's house.
And I will tell you, when you look at partners, Grillo's, I talked to him about that. He said Grillo's executives were there. They were over the top about the opportunity and the coverage. Ryan Blaney leaned into it, using the partners involved. Love's on the car right now. So that extra focus for a team like the 34 car is way more than just the tournament and the money. The focus that they had with that partner was really awesome.
And quietly a solid year for this team. I think they got off to a slow start, but throughout the year they walked themselves up in points. They're 23rd in points. And I know if you're sitting at home, you're like, why are you celebrating 23rd in points? This is a smaller team. They don't have the budget that a Hendrick Motorsports has or Joe Gibbs Racing has. They have to rely on consistency. And I think Todd has a really, really good job of that.
But David has not been all roses for the 34 team lately, has it?
Oh, Marty, I was going to say, and then came getting to Iowa. Leaving, they were told that the tractor would not pull the trailer, their main tractor to pull the trailer. So they went to their truck series tractor and put that one in. And then that one broke down 150 miles from here, and guess who came to the rescue? Yes, that is a mismatch. Champion, who hauls a lot of the pit boxes and all the tires and wheels to and from the racetrack for everybody. They sent a tractor back 150 miles to get the 34 hauler and bring it to the racetrack. So they are here. They were here on time, got everything done, and oh, by the way, they are fast. And yes, it was a Love's truck stop 150 miles from here, and they told us that the amount of paperwork that came out when they plugged that tractor in, yeah, they have a little work to do on that one.
So they were on backup tractor number 3, Jeff.
Nothing describes racing better than that. Win $1 million and then break 2 trucks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it goes.
We're going to need those bonuses back, guys. Sorry.
10 minutes left in practice here.
Is 26th, Ty Dillon is 27th, Chase Elliott's 28th, 29th is Connor Zillage, and Austin Dillon's 30th.
31st, Riley Herbst, A.J. Allmendinger 32nd, Daniel Suarez is 33rd, Noah Gregson 34th, Ryan Preece is 35th, and Cole Custer is 36th.
Precious track time remaining here at 10 minutes and 20 seconds before the teams will get a bit of a break, and then 2 laps of qualifying for each car. From Iowa Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
William Byron on pole position. Green flag is out and we're racing.
We're in the turn.
Here to the inside comes Kyle Larson. He and Hamlin bump.
We're on pit road.
4 tire Sunoco Racing Fuel. The race up from pit road is Denny Hamlin. Eric Jones goes off second.
We are live from the track. The Motor Racing Network, your home for NASCAR racing. Don't miss a lap, pit stop, or side-by-side race for the win. Listen to all the play-by-play action on your local radio station and MRN or NASCAR.com.
Hi, folks. Kyle Petty here. I want to tell you about a place that's dear to my heart, Victory Junction. It's a year-round camp that gives kids with complex medical and physical conditions life-changing experiences that are fun, empowering, and always free for families. Please help Victory Junction support kids who need it the most by making a donation today. Any amount will help kids attend camp for free. Help make a difference by visiting victoryjunction.org/donate.
This is Alex Bowman. You're tuned into the NASCAR Cup Series on the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Back at Iowa Speedway, getting ready to wrap up practice for the NASCAR Cup Series, leading into qualifying. Austin Cindric, the fastest car on the single lap run. It is Ryan Blaney, his Team Penske counterpart, the fastest on the 15-lap run. Let's get a couple of updates from Jason Toy.
You talked about Todd Gilliland a little bit earlier. The one thing about it with him and the Ford, his crew chief Chris Lawson, and the communication has been outstanding back and forth. And I know Todd Gordon talked a little bit about the adjustability that they have inside the race car that the driver can do. They're trying to counter that with some adjustments that the crew chief can do when they come back down, and they continue to get that Ford a little bit faster and faster. Right now, top 10 in single lap speed and pretty consistent in the long run speed too. But another driver we talked about earlier in working out things with Ross Chastain, they had that game plan. Went out late, they thought they were going to do 10 laps. He said he wanted to run 30. They did that. They came in, made adjustments, and back out. Came back in, put new tires on, and went back out. Now it's just running the rest of the practice sessions for a long run, because they know that here at Iowa Speedway we can tend to get a long run, and you want to get better as that run goes on. And that's what Ross seems to be doing here with this Trackhouse Chevrolet. They continue to be pretty solid here, up in the top 5.
So that's the
Move that handle, boom, and that knob turns. Maybe we could play it one more time. So as he pushes that handle, it basically adjusts the knob. So instead of reaching to the dash and turning the knob, he has like a push lever which adjusts the brake bias kind of on the fly. Very supercars-esque. If you go to YouTube and Google brake adjustment on a supercar, it looks very similar to that, just they're using their left hand. But bravo, Trackhouse. Yeah. Great innovation.
And to explain the blue and the red on that knob and the numbers, that's just so the driver knows where the brake adjuster is, right? He needs to understand, because you forget what adjustments you've made, and you want that brake adjuster to be different when you're coming down pit road. You want it to be different when you have a restart on cold tires. So get that back where you need it to be at the right time is really important.
And I will avoid Brandon McSwain at least until next week. I was going to get yelled at when he sees me in the garage. He's got, look, I know everybody else is going to have it, but you didn't have to put it on TV.
Yeah, Phil Surgeon might not talk to you anymore either. He's back in the shop coming up with all these great ideas.
How about this? Back on track.
Yeah, good news. Chase Elliott fans, your man's back out on the racetrack. Just a reminder of what happened to Chase Elliott earlier in this practice session, Jeff.
Got really loose, and then this is like the third lap back out on the racetrack. Car came around, a little contact. Fortunately, the left rear, Steve, felt like that's okay. I was worried about the left front coming around and smacking the wall and doing some damage, and you can see the marks on the fender. But obviously it wasn't a ton of damage to it. Or it was, and they're just trying to get back out in practice, and they still have work to do.
It's going to be interesting,
that.
right? Where they qualify will probably influence the decision some. If you qualify really well, you may not want to give up the spot to make the changes. If you qualify mid-pack, you might want to make the changes anyway.
But I think that just echoes how tough it is on these drivers here at Iowa as Alan Gustafson watches his driver try and get some laps in with just under 6 minutes left in this practice session.
Well, that 12 car behind him, that's a really good car to judge, because he is, to me, when I look at all the lap times, short run, long runs, I believe the 54 of Gibbs and the 12 of Blaney, they are certainly two of the best race cars here this weekend.
Blaney has turned the most laps of anyone at 85 right now, and Team Penske second, third, and fourth on the charts, Dave.
And Jeff, if you want a little further confirmation of your interest in the 12 car, when Joey Logano was running with his teammate Ryan Blaney, Logano was told over the radio that the 12 is the best car.
There you go, affirming what you said, Jeff.
And then Logano's like, well, I want what he's got.
I tell you what, though, for the 22 team, it has been an absolute turnaround, Steve. You know, the North Wilkesboro win, obviously a lot of people will talk about that, but what impresses me is going to Indianapolis, finishing third. Races where maybe you didn't think they would have the speed to contend for the win. They've been a part of it lately. And you look at the tracks coming up, Iowa, Richmond, New Hampshire. I mean, they're going to be a threat to win all three of those.
23 points out of 12th. You know, call it 38 out of 11th. And then once you get there, they're all stacked in. So he's a ways out of 5th or 6th. But if you have some 55-point days in the next couple of short tracks, you could get Joey Logano literally up inside the top 10 in points at the Chase. I thought that was an impossible statement 6 weeks ago.
Isn't it an even year?
I know, yeah.
Yeah. On the Joey Logano even year thing, he wins the championship every even year, Jeff. So, you know, it seems like anyway over the last couple of years. Mama, what's going on pit road, man?
Yeah, Marty, Steve just mentioned 55 points. Well, that's exactly what Keselowski and the 6 team did last year here, winning both the first and the second stage, leading a bunch of laps, having a really good day. They've been in the top 6, 7 throughout today in practice. They're back now a little outside the top 10, but showing some good speed. They've been a little free all afternoon, and we know how being free over these bumps can be a handful for these drivers, Jeff.
Yeah, it certainly can. I'd rather be a little free. I think the back of the car being perfectly stuck, I just don't know that you're ever going to get the car to turn around this racetrack. So the driver would love to have it both ways, but I just don't see how it's going to happen. I don't want to be a lot loose, Steve, because then I can't get in the corner at all. But if my back of my car is feeling really, really good, I just don't know how I'm going to have that and get the front to work.
You just got a driver in a nutshell. So let me go through my notes real quick. You don't want it to be loose in, but when you get to the middle, it has to turn.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We can put a spaceship on the moon. Surely we can do that.
I just make sure we know what we were working with.
He wants a little drive off the corner too, Steve. You know, got to have that drive off as well. So, and you got to look at these tracks coming up also for Keselowski. Had the nice run at Indianapolis, finished 6th there, his best finish since Kansas in April. But you know, you look at Iowa where he's run well in the past, Richmond, New Hampshire, all good tracks for Brad Keselowski. So that's a team that could surprise and make a little run here in the last little bit of the regular season. All of a sudden, Eric Jones has jumped to the top of the charts here at Iowa with a handful of laps left. Denny Hamlin back out on the racetrack. Wonder if they got those brake issues solved.
Well, I'm not sure if they have them solved or not, but what it did was cost him laps. 22 laps running practice, the fewest of everyone in the field. That hurts you both for practice time, fuel burn off for qualifying, all of the above. So we'll have to see for the driver 11 if they've solved his mechanical issue.
He just ran his fastest lap of the day.
And I'll tell you what, Steve, I think people would look, it's a short track. Denny Hamlin, look at that graphic right there. He knows how to get it done in a short track, but Iowa's been a tough place for him. He has finished 24th in both of the races here. And he'll tell you, for months, he's had this race circled as a place we got to get better.
Down on the floor already.
Oh, man.
Brake pedal down to the floor. So you can take all the lap runs and my thought about fuel burn off. And that's the least of your concerns now, because now you have this mechanical issue that will not go away. We have not seen the 11 change mechanical items other than bleeding the brakes. I could be wrong. I didn't see it out the window. The 19 changing rotors, we'll have to see if they feel their issues are related.
Well, they have a problem. That was only the third lap he had run on that run.
Right.
Well, that wasn't like a 20-lap run or something. That was 3 laps.
Right.
And already a problem. So they have got to change something.
I mean, you should be able to run taped up solid for 3 laps. So to your point, Jeff, another mechanical gremlin.
So help me understand, Steve, if you bleed the brakes, if that were one of the issues, that should have solved everything.
So if you bleed air that was trapped or moisture that had been steamed, that should solve it. If you have a leak somewhere or a crack that is introducing new air, then you temporarily solve it. It feels good in the garage, on pit road. You go out on the racetrack, vibration, speed, a little bit of heat, and next thing you know, it's reintroducing air, pedal getting long again. Maybe you have contaminated brake. There's a million things. Master cylinder, a caliper, a crack in a brake line, a fitting, the fluid itself. I mean, it's an uncomfortable feeling for sure.
Interesting. Going to keep an eye on those 2 Gibbs cars for sure, but certainly the 11, currently the championship leader, they've seemed really unflappable lately, but all of a sudden having an issue here in practice at Iowa. We mentioned Eric Jones to the top of the charts, and Jeff, you mentioned it. They keep getting better at Legacy Motor Club, and I talked to Eric a week or so ago about this track specifically as the red and black flags are out. This was one he was a little bit worried about. So to have this kind of speed, his teammate John Hunter Nemechek pretty good as well. He's 13th on the board. I got to feel really encouraged at Legacy. Been kind of bragging on Ryan Blaney, 5th fastest in this practice session. Let's ride on board, Jeff.
Oh, just super loose, getting in the corner. And, in practice, that's what you do. Like, you just kind of bail out of the lap. Don't worry about the lap time. Just let it run up the racetrack. Don't necessarily try to worry about lap time. But it shows you how this is one of the best cars. I just said I think the 12 and the 54 are the 2 best cars, and he still is out of control. And that's the kind of racetrack that Iowa is.
Not sure we've had a practice session, Steve, where I've had more questions after the 1 hour than this one in quite a while.
I love it. I love it. This place is a challenge.
That's what's fun about the Iowa Speedway. Practice in the books now. 50 minutes of it. Everybody able to run that entire time. Qualifying coming up next here from the Iowa Speedway.
That for you in a moment. Later this afternoon, we invite you to join us at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Hy-Vee Perks 250 will take to the airwaves. And, of course, tomorrow we're on the air with NASCAR Live Race Day, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The NASCAR Cup Series Iowa Corn 350 back for the 3rd year. And, Alex, we're going to be back for what looks to be years to come after the big announcement with the infrastructure upgrade and next year's calendar location.
$20 million is the capital that is being put into Iowa Speedway, a full track repave, other improvements that are going to be taking place to give the fans a better experience here at Iowa Speedway. You mentioned the calendar date. It's already been announced. NASCAR Cup Series back in the year 2027 at Iowa Speedway on 4th of July right here in America's Heartland.
Now, the destruction or the demolition of the current racing surface will take place as soon as the checkered flag falls tomorrow. Brad Keselowski will be in charge of putting the excavator in the ground. He was the winner of the first NASCAR national level race here, the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series back in 2009 when Brad took the checkered flag, and that's going to be fun to see this come to life and the investment into this racetrack that when you look on the calendar, or the map of the United States, basically it's right in the middle, and it draws from all over. This is quite a destination for a lot of race fans throughout the country.
Yeah, I've had a chance to visit with race fans since we've been here. We've got fans from Canada that have made the drive down, fans that have made the drive down from Idaho. Yeah, they've come from all over to come watch short track racing NASCAR style right here at Iowa Speedway.
Let's get an update on the Riley Herbst braking issues with the postman, Steve.
Braking issues. I'm not sure what they've got going on. You ever see a person look like they don't know what is happening? I've seen a couple of people looking looking at the right front of Riley Herbst's car, and they literally have their mouth, their hand on their face, trying to figure out what they're seeing, okay? What they did not do is they did not change the rotors, they did not change the pads, they did not change anything on this car. Davin Restivo is now talking with Jeff from AP Brakes and one of the NASCAR officials, and they're looking at data, and it's giving them some signal of a brake problem, but there's no reference or no evidence of a brake problem. And so it is a mystery down here. It really, truly is. Ironically now, Denny Hamlin, the team owner for this team, has joined the conversation, who had a brake issue on his car. So I don't know if we got a brake issue or a brake question here now among the teams, but they're working on it down here. Well, let's add Riley Herbst to the conversation as well. So, yeah, Denny Hamlin just signaled all the way to the floor. That's what his brake did. And Riley Herbst just signaled his brake went all the way to the floor as well. So we've got a brake problem and a brake mystery down here in the Toyota Camp 2311 and Joe Gibbs Racing.
From Iowa, an eventful practice session.
It was an eventful practice session, and I agree with you. It's very hard to really understand where everybody is on speed. Teams and drivers will go out on old tires and be able to lay a good lap time down. I think the field's going to be pretty mixed up.
You got Denny Hamlin in there in 6th, and we don't even know if he has any brakes to actually work, Steve.
Yeah, and his teammate, the 19 of Briscoe, we showed in practice they were bringing out fresh brake rotors. We're going to get an update at some point exactly what they changed, but we're going to let them get their changes done and if they were approved or not. Will they go to the back? A lot of question marks of some teams. Will the 9 have to make changes after the wreck? There's a lot going on.
And if you want an indication of how different a 50-minute practice session is, Ryan Blaney ran 93 laps in this practice session. That's just insane. Mamba, what's happening?
Well, it smells different around here. It must be that new money that Todd has. Todd, you got fast car, fast for 1 lap, fast for 5 laps, fast for 10 laps. Now your tractor, you had some issues with the tractor on the way out here, but other than that, it's been pretty good this week.
Yeah, luckily our truck drivers are troopers. They got our hauler here in one piece, so yeah, those are the unsung heroes. But anyway, yes, our car here at Iowa is, it feels good, it has some speed. It feels good to just, obviously everyone fights something, right? We're still not, the best driving-wise, but at least we have speed. We can work on it from there. So we did do a mock run. Probably not our best work, but in race trim, we kept that whole same set of tires on for probably those 45 laps or so. So, yeah, I feel like it was one of our smoother practices. My wife always says when we have a longer practice, we tune ourselves out. So I don't think we did that this time, but we'll see. And yeah, I'm just excited to go back out and see what our Loves Ford has.
Now, is your golf game as good as your Iowa car is? Because I was talking to Latar earlier. He said you guys went golfing. Last time I had a golf club, he was giving me a lot of hell. But is he good or is he just talking smack?
I don't know. I guess good is, in golf, that is a very subjective thing. So sometimes he's better than me. I feel like we had a good match going, though. So, yeah, I think my car here is definitely better than my golf game. And luckily, we can definitely make more of a career out of this. So we're going to stick with this, but it's good times.
Dave, Todd Gilliland is going to stick to what he knows best, which is race cars.
And that is Austin Cindric as well, leading the Team Penske Brigade here. Got pipped by a couple of guys there at the end, but how good is a 2-car?
Yeah, I think our fire speed was decent. With being in the car for 15 minutes, I have no idea where I was in the session. So I thought our fire was decent. Just probably need to get the car a bit more consistent for the longer run. Definitely a tricky track to drive, and I think this qualifying session will be super important.
And I was thinking for a guy on the cut line, this is fairly important to be good.
Today's Saturday.
It is Saturday. Hey, we're real quick. Is it any easier to do the chase in this format, in the gut and in the heart and in the head? Is it just the same as before? It's nerve-wracking.
One race at a time. Like I said, today's Saturday, tomorrow's Sunday.
All right, good luck qualifying. Austin Cindric, guys.
Austin, the fastest of the Team Penske cars, in 3rd, and they all were pretty high on the charts here in that practice session. When we come back, we'll get to qualifying here from the Iowa Speedway on True TV.
50. Before we do that, let's catch up and hear from the driver that was fastest in practice. Jason Toy?
That is Eric Jones on the Dollar General Toyota. And let's first talk about that run and getting up on the top of the board. You guys kind of spaced out a little bit in that 50 minutes, and you went out late to get that. So did it work out the way you hoped to, and what did you learn?
Yeah, we wanted just make a mock and see kind of what we're going to have for qualifying. So, yeah, it worked out pretty good. It was a really busy track, but we got a pretty clean couple of laps, and I think we learned what we need to at least make some small changes for qualifying. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's you're going to make a mock, I guess you should try to go first, but I'm happy with that and just happy with the general balance. I think even our long run was okay. We needed to get it a little bit better, but it was close.
All right, I know you focus on your run out there, but your other Toyota teammates, I guess, down the way with 2311 and Gibbs, they were all changing or having issues with brakes. Did you guys have any problems?
No, none here. We were pretty cool on temperature. I couldn't tell you what they were running, but yeah, no, we haven't had any issues. Been good here and nice and easy on them, so hopefully that keeps going for us.
There you go. Eric Jones says it with a smile. Top of the charts in practice, looking to do that in qualifying.
Yeah, and that'll be taking place here in just a short while, qualifying here under cloudless skies in Newton, Iowa. Love coming out here, Mike. This really is become a fan favorite for everybody that comes around. I mentioned earlier, fans from Canada, from Idaho, all over the Midwest and other parts making their way here to Iowa Speedway. You know, I've never been to Iowa before we came out here in 2009. I've fallen in love out here with this place, and the city of Des Moines is beautiful. Obviously, this area where the racetrack is just beautiful. We take back roads. We don't even take Interstate 80 for the majority of our drive from our hotel out here. We like to get out in the back roads and ride the cornfields and up and down the hills and those surprise stop signs they have on the other side of the hills.
I'm telling you, man. Got to watch yourself. I wondered why Alex was slowing down this morning. I saw it. As we crested the hill, 30 feet down, there was a stop sign. But it's just beautiful country out here. You could Dukes of Hazzard some of those hills coming into this racetrack, but there's a stop sign waiting for you on the other side. At least Roscoe and Enos would have the day off. Back to Jason Toy.
If you had fun here, Mike, you need to come to West Virginia to see us. We can definitely take care of you there when it comes to the roads and the windiness. But hey, Todd Gilliland talked a lot about you during the practice session. You guys had a very fast forward. Confidence from Indy. I know the finish at Indy wasn't what you wanted, but you got that money. I'm sure it puts a shot in the arm, go into the off break. How does it feel this weekend?
Yeah, there's a lot of different emotions, like you said, right? As racers, we wish we were better. We wish we could have beaten the 12. It feels a lot like the 12 beat himself, but that's sports for you, right? Someone had to go out and win it. So, yeah, most celebrated 24th place finish I've ever had and probably will ever have. But it's part of it. Super proud of my team. I mean, we fought hard through every single round of that. It was really nice going into the off break there, just to kind of relax, have something on a high note to go our way. So, all is good. Today we unloaded really in the ballpark, which is really strong for us, and then fine-tuned it from there. So overall, super proud of my team for the day we've had this far.
Saw a lot of focus on long runs. How did your car handle on the back end of those?
Weekend here in Iowa. Dave, I believe you're discovering a little bit what's going on with the 19 car.
Well, the one thing I do know is that Chase Briscoe has friends and family and people everywhere he races. So we were getting ready to do the interview, and he's like, hang on, I got to go say hey. And he just did. So we know you have friends everywhere. Do you have friends in the brake department, and how do we fix this?
I hope we can find some friends. If not, it's not ideal. You definitely need to have a good solid brake pedal. It just, you can do so much with the car on how you load the car and the balance of it. And it's just hard whenever you're running every lap and you have no idea if you're going to go into the corner and the brakes are going to be there or if they're going to go to the floor. So it just makes it where you're not ever at your full potential. So, yeah, that was a frustrating practice just from that standpoint because you didn't really know what you had and trying not to wreck. And just one lap you would have a brake pedal, the next it would literally go to the floor. So hopefully we can figure it out. It seems like it's a group thing, or at least a lot of us have it. So, yeah, hopefully we can fix the brakes because you're definitely going to need them for our Bass Pro Shops Toyota. So, yeah, I feel like if we can get the brakes, I feel confident our car is fairly good. Like what few laps I have brakes and I can run it. So, yeah, see what we got.
Now, let me follow the bouncing ball here. After they have they put the rotors back on for you to go back out yet, or will this be a fresh green run for you in qualifying?
Yeah, we put a new rotor on there for that run of practice, and I ran, honestly, 15 laps with fairly good brakes, and I thought they were good. And then with, 3 minutes left, I went to the floor again. So, yeah, I don't know. I know the first one, I guess, had cracks in it or something, and they don't think it was cracks. So I don't know why it keeps going to the floor. So, not ideal, that's for sure, Dave.
Appreciate it. Good luck in qualifying. As for the rest of the teams, remember the 11 did not change rotors, so no parts changed on the 11, but they've still got issues. And I spoke with the 20 team as well. Christopher Bell's car not reporting any braking issues at this point.
Boy, the interesting part about that is that the 19 changed rotors and still had an issue, Steve. So this is going to be an interesting topic to follow for Joe Gibbs Racing, certainly as we head into the Iowa race tomorrow. We'll start qualifying coming up here in just a moment.
Living with hydrogenated Supertiva, it's a lot to cover.
How you load the car with braking. So yeah, it just made it extremely challenging there in practice because you could never get your car to do what you wanted to do, and you're also going halfway down the straightaway and just being like, man, I hope I have brakes here when I go into the corner. So yeah, not very fun there.
So, and still no real answer on it?
Yeah, not that I know of. Yeah, I don't know. We changed the rotors there and bled the brakes, and it would work for like 2 laps, and they would just go right back to go into the floor. And then you would slow down finally and come into the pits and stop, and then your brake pedal would be there again. So it's like just extremely confusing and frustrating. Yeah, I don't know. Me and Denny were talking about it there when we got out, and just, I mean, you can't race like that when you just have no confidence if you're going to have brakes or anything else. So hopefully we can figure it out.
I want to step away from the Cup world just briefly because you made an announcement this morning that you are now an owner of a high-limit racing series team, partnering up with Brent Marks. How important is that for you just to be part of the short track industry, especially we're standing here in Iowa, for Pete's sake? How is it important for you to be part of that?
Yeah, it's extremely important. You know, my grandpa started owning sprint cars in 1976, literally 50 years ago, and for us as a family to still be involved in sprint car racing 50 years later, I think it just says a lot about how we feel about sprint car racing and our passion for it. And you know, that was my goal and just childhood dream, was to be a NASCAR Cup Series driver and own a sprint car team on a national tour. I remember, you know, going to Bloomington Speedway or wherever, and you know, Tony Stewart Racing would always be there for an outlaw show, or USAC Race and Casey Kane Racing. And I always just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And so that's always been the goal for me. And I've been able to do that a little bit on a part-time schedule, you know, on the ownership side. But now to finally be able to do it full-time and to do it at a level with a national team, like buying out Brent Marks, you know, he can go win. He's won 2 of the 3 crown jewels in sprint car racing. Like, we can go win big races and win the championships. So it's extremely exciting. Appreciate, you know, everybody that made it happen. And it's going to be cool. We're going to unveil the car later today with Magical Vacation Planner on the car. So it's an exciting day.
Exciting day. We wish you well for getting this Cup car out.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
There we go. That is Chase Briscoe. And Todd Gordon, you're the crew chief. What do you do when you still haven't figured it out?
Yeah, that's a challenge. And you got to figure out what you can do to kind of get yourself to the qualifying effort. I listened to the point that Chase said he could go for a couple laps. Well, I'm going to try to get a lap in and see where it goes from there. That's not a comfortable position to be, but we're definitely going to have to digest this and figure out what we need to do overnight to make it raceable tomorrow.
So as we wait for qualifying to take place, the cars are lined up nose to tail at the exit of the pit lane. We're getting closer and closer to sending our first car on the track. From Iowa Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR. NASCAR Foundation Truck Giveaway is here. You can win a brand new Ram 1500 truck from Daytona Dodge. Each entry is just a $25 donation that helps a child in need. Plus, 4 phase winners will receive a VIP experience at the Coke Zero Sugar 400 in Daytona.
Green flag, we are racing at Daytona.
Enter now through August 17th at NASCARFoundation.org/car giveaway. It's your chance to win big while giving back.
The finish is only the beginning.
There goes the tail.
Oh, my goodness. You did not go there, did you, Burton? Connor Zillich, first car out on the track today.
2 laps. 2 laps here.
Iowa. Yeah, good reminder, Steve. 2 laps here at Iowa Speedway.
I think I was talking to myself right there. Just to remind myself it was 2 laps.
Remind everyone at home, too.
Yeah.
Connor,
Jeff, better or worse 2 laps as a driver?
Yeah.
That bump into one.
Well, I would say better, but it really depends on, let's see what happens with tires. If the first lap is by far the fastest, then it's really a 1-lap qualifying session anyway. But what we've seen so far, it wouldn't surprise me that the second lap could be better. We'll see.
Connor in his off week did a little deep sea fishing, Jeff, and got sunburnt.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can relate to that as a deep sea fisherman, you know. Easy to get sunburned on the boat, isn't it?
I thought you meant as a guy that got sunburned all the time.
Yeah, that's actually what I thought he was talking about too as well.
Zillich only took 1 lap right there.
He did only take 1 lap, Steve. I wonder why he only took 1 lap there. Do you think he maybe mess that up, or
you know, only time will tell.
Yeah.
First car out, that's some of the disadvantage.
23:55 for Zilich.
It doesn't strike me as fast enough, seeing as how we saw, what do we see, a 71?
Yeah. Oof. 23:71 is what Eric Jones ran in practice. Here's Cody Ware, good looking race car. That black and gold always looks good on a racetrack.
Both poles were around a 23 flat.
Ooh,
23.00
wow.
for Briscoe, 23.08 for Kyle Larson. We have a softer left side tire, more power. So I don't know. Only time will tell, but I can't believe we've slowed down a half a second.
Speaking of more power, that hasn't been, we talked a lot about brakes in practice. Well, more power, more speed down the straightaway, less drag. You're approaching the corners faster, you're going to need more brakes.
Oh, Cody, good catch on that one. And I would assume, Jeff, with the additional power, we talked about how sketchy it was last year, it's going to be even tougher for these guys with that power, extra power late in the run on older tires.
For sure. And to be clear, that's why all the drivers wanted it. They wanted it to be sketchy. They feel like it lets the driver control more. That's what they were asking for.
Riley Herbst.
No one did the off week better than Riley Herbst.
Yeah, you know, when you go to the south of France, you know.
South of France on a yacht.
Like you would do.
I'm going to tell you, this guy's social media, I was jealous.
I'm guessing Dad picked up the tab for that one. At least I hope for Riley's behalf he did.
He was DJing. He had a heck of a time.
Yeah, man.
Riley's had an interesting year. There's been times this year where I think Riley and this team have shown a lot of speed. I think it's been a really good step forward for Riley in his career this year. And then there's other days that, you know, 3 finishes of 30 or worse in the last 5 races, right? That puts a damper on those good days. But I think this has been a solid year for Riley in regard to speed. We've seen him have good speed at some racetracks this year. Step forward.
Boy, he's had a handful in this qualifying lap, Jeff.
Yes, he has.
Started counting all those twitches. Got to the second hand for sure. 23:72 for Riley Herbst. Yeah, here you go, Steve. Just recount it one more time for you. Why not?
Yeah,
you know,
his social, like I said, his social media was. Although I'm gonna give him great flair. I mean, I don't know what material that shirt is, but it looks very European. Like he was blending right in with the crowd.
For the record, it's something that the Herbst family has done before, south of France in the off.
I was trying to be nice in case I could give you an invite. Working my way to an invite, Marty.
On board with Austin Hill, Jeff.
Watch his hands. Watch how much work it is driving this race car. Remember, this is maximum grip, new tires, high air pressure, low on fuel, putting a lot of weight to the front tires, and look at the workload.
First Cup start for Austin here in Iowa.
Really interested to see Austin Hill and what he does the rest of the year. You know, what's going to happen with him next year? Is he going to end up filling this seat full time?
23:68 is his lap of record. Mamba, I believe you've caught up with one of the quick drivers here in Iowa, Ryan Blaney.
Yes, I have. Former winner here at Iowa Speedway. Actually, you've won in about everything that you've raced here at Iowa. What do you think about this 12 Rocket this weekend?
Yeah, it's nice to be back in Iowa. Special place to me, that's for sure, my family, and yeah, our Menards Pennington Ford Mustang. I was fairly happy with it in practice. I think we got a little bit better through practice too, so that was positive. Made a couple long runs, and it was interesting to see kind of where the track progressed to, I thought. Kind of progressed to the second lane quickly, and then you had a lot of options from there. So I feel like we have a decent car under us. Matter of trying to hit a couple good laps here. It's tough here. You're kind of on a nice edge. Like you can't really slip too much, or it's a big slip. There's not a lot of sliding here. It's a lot of big twitchy moments, and some of those moments are pretty big. But overall, decent start to the weekend. Hopefully, like I said, we can run a good lap here.
Ryan's going to try and keep the car underneath him, guys.
23:80 for Ty Dillon. He talks about those twitchy moments, Steve, and I know drivers feel it behind the wheel, but you don't often see it on television. You can visually see those twitchy moments for these drivers.
You absolutely can, and I was questioning Zilich's one lap, but currently holding up.
Yeah.
Although John Hunter has a pretty good 1 and 2 going, track kind of right on time.
Had some good speed in practice. Let's see if John Hunter Nemechek can knock Zilich off the pole.
Blaney commented that the track groove had moved up quickly in practice, and you see guys in qualifying running the second groove.
There's a surface change right above that second groove. It goes from new pavement to old. So I don't know if they'll get above that. It would shock me.
Tell you what, the longer we go in this session, Steve, you're exactly right. It looks like Zilich is pretty good at that 23.55 thus far. Only a handful of cars have gone, though. John Hunter Nemechek with a 23.66 after some decent speed in practice. Kyle Larson will put up a good lap, no doubt. A good test here for Connor Zilich.
Yeah, there was a time where we would have thought this would be the mark to chase, but it's just not been that for the 5 of Kyle Larson. Only 19th in practice, working on that long winless streak.
You wonder, we are coming off an off weekend, and we've seen time and time again, some teams can really use that off weekend to their advantage. You wonder if that little bit of off is something that this team can take advantage of.
Larson to the top with a 23.49. He's going to go for lap 2 here. And to your point, Steve, this team just needs a solid finish. 4 straight races not finishing on the lead lap. Not going to be faster on lap 2 for Larson, but that's good enough to get him to the top of the heap so far.
Well, it looks like to me, Steve, you asked me about 1 or 2 laps, which what I'd like as a driver. I'm on 1 lap mode anyway, right? The second lap is there if like you have a terrible lap and maybe you can recover from it and get a decent qualifying spot, but you better get it done this first lap.
This car fascinates me. You know, they are so good at Richmond. I mean,
yes,
standout Richmond. And then I was wondering how it would translate here.
You know that they're excited about next week as Austin Dillon goes second quickest, first race of the year for him in the Get Bioethanol colors. Love that, celebrating the 250th year of our country, and Austin Dillon gonna close it down after 1 lap. Seems to be kind of a theme here. Drivers just taking 1 lap. Chase Elliott on the track after this happening in practice, Steve.
Yeah, slow, kind of lazy spin of 1 and 2, but different contact. Got to come all the way around, hit the left rear and the left front. Slight repairs were made. They continued on in practice. We'll see if it's hurt the speed of this 9. We'll also follow up after qualifying to see if more repairs need to be made.
Oof, pretty far off right here.
Some of this could also be to transfer this set of tires. You have to actually make a lap on them. So maybe they're just thinking, hey, I need to go scuff these tires in so I have them in practice or in the race.
And to your point, Steve, important to get a pit stall selection as well. You just don't want to give that up and not make a qualifying effort, but clearly off pace for the 9 car.
Yeah, not good.
Meaning they may have changes they have to make.
That's right.
To the car after that damage, and they may have to start in the back anyway, is what the point is.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't know that for sure, but it is something. It's hard to imagine the left front doesn't have some kind of damage.
Rarely do you hit the wall and make something better.
Yeah.
So it's going to be 8th quickest there for Chase Elliott after the wreck in practice. That's the lap of record here in qualifying at the Iowa Speedway. 9 cars in the books here from the Iowa Speedway. Kyle Larson, the fastest so far.
You've got to try the softest sneaker ever. Hands-free, cozy fit Skechers slip-ins. Sneakers that are as soft and comfy as your favorite slippers. Just step in and go with no bending down or touching. Wrap your feet in hands-free, cozy fit Skechers slip-ins.
To get any job done right, you want tools you're proud of. Tools good enough for the pros, but designed to be easier to use for everyone. You want Husqvarna. Smart, reliable, tough. Bring your H game.
Paying less for less ain't a good deal. But when you pay less and you get more, that's Straight Talk Wireless. Straight Talk's been the same price since they started in 2009. Straightforward, always.
And now, plans starting at just $25 a month. The DQ Blizzard Double Flip Deal is here. Buy 1 Blizzard treat and get a second for just 99 cents. 99 cents?
On the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Back at Iowa Speedway in the middle of NASCAR Cup Series qualifying for the Iowa Corn 350. 9 cars have taken time. Kyle Larson is the fastest. Back to Steve Post.
Well, down here just watching things happen. Zane Smith getting ready to climb aboard his car. William Byron in front of him has already climbed aboard. Zane's getting the helmet on. It's a race team down here that needs something good to happen on the short tracks. We've talked about them being really, really good on the intermediates, but this is a racetrack that they have struggled on. He is climbing aboard the race car, so going to go out and qualify and see what Zane Smith can do on it. Unfortunately, finishes outside of the top 30 in both of his starts here at Iowa, so we'll see how they qualify today, one step at a time, and make their way forward and maybe have a little bit better afternoon tomorrow here in the fields of Iowa.
6 top 10 finishes this season for Zane Smith, the most he's ever had in his NASCAR Cup Series career in one season. Well, while he's struggled here at Iowa Speedway as far as the Cup car goes, Zane Smith and that Front Row Motorsports team has had some speed throughout the year.
Noah Gragson has just left the pit lane. Noah Gragson, best finish of 11th in 21 short track starts. Going to look to improve that this weekend, flying the Long John Silver's colors this weekend. He is under the green flag as we go back to the...
Well, somebody told me there's some really nice courses around here.
Oh, really? Would that have been the guy to your right?
No.
No. Don't get me involved in this conversation.
No.
We all played golf yesterday.
Well, we work with him, and he's wandering around down there on pit road, and he's in the Hall of Fame, and you can connect all the dots.
Won a championship.
Yeah.
Good lap right here for Noah.
And B. Del Jarrett will be on the pre-race show with us on USA Sports tomorrow. Yeah, good lap in the green for a while for Noah Gragson.
Really good 1 and 2.
You mentioned that tire test. Didn't show in practice. 34th in practice. But the 34, Todd Gillen talked about his speed. Remember, that's a team car.
Yeah.
So you don't know if that information has helped across the board for this organization.
Noah going to take the second lap. So far, Steve, no one has been quicker on their second lap, which is a little bit surprising to me.
Yeah, it was a big correction right there. I thought he was trending, but then had to jump out of the gas. So he will also not go quicker.
You almost, at this point, from a driver's standpoint, I've just got to get myself that I got to get this first lap done. And to be honest, when I get to start-finish line, unless I completely mess it up, I'm going to quit. I'm just going to keep as few laps on these tires as possible in case I need them. If I have to transfer these, we get a lot of cautions. I'd rather have as least amount of laps on them as possible.
And I think you and I, Jeff, we're going to have that conversation because I'm going to stick my head in the window and be like, hey, we're going to run 2, we're going to run 1, because I don't want to set the air pressure for 2 and you quit.
Exactly.
Then we're going to be really frustrated with each other back in the garage.
Eric Jones fastest in practice, lap 1, just 4th quickest for the 43 car.
Like I said, a little shocked on pace. 23 flat both years here qualifying. Currently fastest at 49, a half a second on nearly a 1 mile racetrack is a mile.
Much better here on lap 2, though, in the green for Jones in 3 and 4. Losing it a little bit off 4, not going to be quite enough to get to Larson. And he'll stay right there in 4th for Eric Jones. Mama?
Another guy we saw towards the top of the pylon, Ty Gibbs. Ty, how's the full 54 machine running this weekend?
It's running really good. We got the blue and white colors on, so really looks good. Thank you to Sirius XM, thank you to Monster Energy. I feel like we're really fast, and yeah, so really excited for it. Go buy DeWalt tools too.
What a plug for the whole team down here, guys.
Is he allowed to touch that impact wrench, or do they know that he had that in his hand?
Only if the car's not nearby.
Yeah, right, exactly. A.J. Allmendinger on the track here at Iowa. Best of 18th in his 2 Cup starts here.
Hey, and congratulations. Hole-in-one this week.
What?
Jay Allmendinger made a hole-in-one.
Very nice.
I wasn't there for it. Michael Waltrip reported it to me. I'll give Michael the credit. Yep, hole 8, Verdict Ridge in North Carolina. He's an avid golfer, which makes me laugh because his fiery personality in the golf course is an interesting mix, as it is when he gets behind the wheel.
Oh, I've played with him many times. His home course at Verdict Ridge. It's a tough little track, so
yeah,
nice to get a hole-in-one there. 8th quickest for AJ at a 23.70.
So Bubba was top of the charts early in practice. When everybody hit the track right away, this 23 car looked really well, doing everything he was looking for it to do. Let's see what kind of pace he has. Trending the right way, maybe a little bobble off too.
Way through 3 and 4, that's really where Kyle Larson gained a lot of time. You can see that's where everybody loses their time.
How about Zilich still third? Really a tip of the hat to Connor Zilich. First car on the racetrack.
That first lap is nowhere near what Bubba Wallace and his team wanted.
Just 9th quickest.
Surely the track's not going away, is it? I mean,
I was
normally
shocked that it was faster later in practice than it was early.
Yeah.
So,
meaning an early draw would have been better?
I mean, Indianapolis is usually the only track, and that's usually time of qualifying that early doesn't kill you. But here today, I mean, it seems, at least so far, it hasn't trended that way.
9th for Bubba Wallace. There's Todd Gilliland hanging out, little vacation in the Bahamas with his wife. Your son in attendance, I understand, Jeff?
yeah, they said sounded like they had a good time.
Okay.
You know, all those these guys work hard. They work really hard. And, you know, just like everybody else, you need a little bit of time away. Just go have a good time.
Todd had some nice speed in that practice session. 4th overall, first lap for Gilliland, just 9th quickest, 23.70.
I do think you bring up a great point, though, Jeff. Sometimes your perspective needs to be refreshed, right? You've been in the garage just, you know, grinding and grinding and grinding, trying to improve. Every once in a while, just a breath, just away from the grind of the garage. Good lap, a little high here. Is going to have to.
He's going to pick up this lap, though, isn't he?
He is.
A little quick. Yeah,
First guy.
Yeah.
23.65 for Todd Gilliland.
It's such a high-pressure sport, and you're constantly fighting for your job. Someone always just trying to take it. It just is what it is, and sometimes you just need to get away from it.
Ross Chastain in a very Iowa-appropriate Busch Light paint scheme this weekend.
They're not even shooting for the bottom in one. They're not even shooting for the bottom here. I say that so you see that paving scene. He runs his left side right on it. That is clearly the second lane of the racetrack.
Pretty decent lap.
There you go. 4th quickest for Chastain at a 23.56. Gonna go for lap 2 here.
Whoa! Big loose off the corner.
Was gonna go for lap 2 until he decided that was not a good idea.
Held on it there, that second lap. Yeah, 10-4.
Tell you what, this in-car camera's given us some fantastic views today with Ross Chastain. Go inside the race with NASCAR Driver Cam, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook and Straight Talk Wireless. Access every in-car camera with real-time driver data, multi-view options, and full team audio. Watch NASCAR Driver Cam all season long, only on HBO Max. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., we've talked about his success here at Iowa, the 3 wins in the O'Reilly Series, the top 5 here in the first Cup Series race, and some decent speed in practice, Jeff.
Yeah, it was decent speed. Pretty decent lap going right here. Let's see if he can carry that speed on corner exit. Where's that going to put him? 7th. Beat some really good teams, though.
Kyle Larson's got to be ecstatic of how his lap is holding up right here. Went out early because of that issue he had in Indianapolis.
And it's crazy to think that here we are, 14 races left in the season, and Hendrick is still looking for their first pole position of the year. Can Larson hang on to make that happen?
I would be shocked if a car that early, forget Larson, if anyone that early in qualifying is able to pull that off.
Stenhouse winds up 7th. His first lap was the quickest. Here's Alex Bowman on the track for Hendrick Motorsports.
We talked a lot about just announcements. I know it's been a few weeks, but Bowman announcing that he's going to run the 48 again next year, but it'll be his final year.
Oh, man. The entry of both corners. He had really good speed entering 1 and 3, but just wasn't able to stay in the line that he was trying to.
Just crazy to me, Jeff, how you can visually see how these drivers are just barely hanging on to these cars. And as you pointed out earlier, this is maximum grip. Brand new tires in qualifying.
It's only going to get worse tomorrow.
Can make for an exciting race.
Yeah, look, this is what we talk about. This is kind of what we expect to see short track racing. This is a fast short track, but it's kind of what we expect to see. NASCAR type racing. Cars kind of out of control. Drivers having to be on the wheel driving them. Alex Bowman not going to be happy with that lap at all.
Yeah, just 14th fastest for Alex Bowman. Here's Ryan Blaney. Jeff, you said one of the best cars in your mind in practice, and already green for Blaney.
Good entry speed, now trying to get that corner speed on the exit. Splits that seam, getting in the corner.
Man, it's turn 4 every time. You can tell us where Larson gained a lot of time. Everybody loses time off of 4, but second quick for Blaney on lap 1.
Lower entry below that seam. Will it pay off? Oh, it does. 1 and 2. Still in the greens. Down here, though, as you pointed out, Marty, they gave it away last time. He's a little bit below the seam. This time it looks better.
Oh, he's hanging on to it barely. Blaney to the top over Larson.
So whether it was
23.47
tire pressure buildup or change of lane, he was definitely lower on the racetrack, I would argue, the second lap.
Certainly worked for Ryan Blaney. So far, the fastest here in Iowa.
Flash, someone's life is on the line. At Whelen Engineering, we know first responders carry that weight every day. That's why for over 70 years, we've led the emergency warning industry, designing and manufacturing the lights, sirens, and safety systems they trust right here in America. Because when the mission is critical, there's no room for second best. Whelen Engineering, trusted to protect first responders.
Our giveaway. It's your chance to win big while giving back.
Jeff Gordon wins the Daytona 500.
Jeff Gordon's rise to one of NASCAR's all-time greatest drivers was one like no other. Relive Jeff Gordon's journey to the NASCAR Hall of Fame with the exclusive MRN podcast, Jeff Gordon, A Colorful Career. 93 Cup Series wins, 4 Cup Series championships, and 3 Daytona 500 wins, a career rivaled by few others. Check out MRN's Jeff Gordon, A Colorful Career on podcast platforms and MRN.com.
This is Denny Hamlin, and you're tuned in to the NASCAR Cup Series on the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Back at Iowa Speedway, NASCAR Cup Series qualifying continuing here for the Iowa Corn 350. Michael McDowell will roll next. Here are the 18 that have gone so far. Ryan Blaney is the new leader in qualifying. Kyle Larson is second. Austin Dillon is third. Connor Zilic fourth. Ross Chastain is fifth. Eric Jones is sixth. Noah Gragson is seventh. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is eighth. Todd Gilliland ninth. And John Hunter Nemechek is 10th.
Austin Hill currently 11th. A.J. Allmendinger is 12th. 13th at the moment is Bubba Wallace. Riley Herbst is 14th. Alex Bowman 15th. Ty Dillon is currently 16th. Chase Elliott is 17th. And Cody Ware is 18th as we go back to pit lane and Steve Post.
Chris Buescher down here bringing his car up. It is an absolutely beautiful orange and black car. It is just absolutely gorgeous down here. Has the Fastenal colors on it as far as that goes. So we'll check in with Chris on the car. Chris, I was just talking about how beautiful your race car is. How beautiful was it driving out here today?
Well, it's a nice day out here, but you know what? It's going to be really important to get out here and get this bodyguard by Fastenal Ford Mustang up front for tomorrow. Place is just narrower than it once was. Yeah, I think that it's a little surprised everybody's been as high as they are on the track for qualifying.
Really good entry speed. Kind of lost a little bit in the middle, but then equaled out on corner exit.
McDowell, 7th quickest on that first lap, 23.59. See if he takes lap 2.
A little bit too high right there. I think he might bail on this lap. Nope, it's continuing on. I was shocked, Steve, how high he was right there.
Yeah.
Still able to have decent grip. It wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible either.
I selfishly just want to see somebody fired all the way to the bottom to see if it would work.
See what happens?
Well, I mean, I think Blaney was a little low. I don't mean bottom like white line, but maybe straddle the seams.
7th fastest for McDowell, Mamba.
Yeah, we were talking about Ryan Blaney's on top of the board right now. He said Iowa is really important to him, and he also brought something else that's really important to him. This helmet, guys, is a Kyle Busch tribute. It has a bunch of different schemes. I think it's like 4 or 5 different schemes of Kyle and of signature wins, as you see across the helmet. Ryan wanted to do something for Kyle and KB to immortalize him, and that helmet's pretty cool.
That is a pretty cool helmet. You got to wonder what he's going to do with it. What he might do with it. That is a pretty cool helmet. You got to out on the racetrack. Boy, you talk about a team that had a nice Indianapolis. They had for this 41 team.
Yeah, some association, Jeff. Sorry, but you know, being a one-car organization,
been a little bit of a different team.
Yeah, some
different story for this 41.
Jeff. Sorry, but you know, being a one-car organization, it's just hard sometimes to not have somebody to kind of ask what they're dealing with, what they're working on.
As William Byron takes the green, what's going on, Dave?
Well, we were going to check with Denny Hamlin because we watched his braking challenge during practice. What do you expect in qualifying?
Not really sure. I mean, I think you know, we'll go out there and try to give it the best run we can. We qualified decent here last year. Yeah, we just didn't get a whole lot of laps of practice to get the car right or work on it, but we'll try to address all the issues overnight and see what happens.
Are the brakes solid the last time you went out? Brakes solid?
It is for 2 laps, and then I don't have any, so we'll see what happens after that.
Wow, that's got to be discouraging. Good for 2 laps, and that's it.
Well, and you heard he mentioned overnight, so this team absolutely knows this was all about just trying to get qualified today, put their heads together, see exactly what plan they can come up with overnight. As William Byron, man, 11th. That's,
I'm telling you what, for the defending winner here, that's a bit of a surprise,
well,
Jeff.
And just sorry, Jeff, but just forgetting the cars, we normally see the trend kind of go up.
Yeah.
You know, speed picks up, track picks up, not today.
Which is a very interesting thing to track. Zane Smith making his qualifying run. See what he can do. His teammates, Noah Gregson sitting in 8th and Todd Gillen sitting in 10th so far.
Good corner exit right there. Once again, both corner exits were pretty decent. Let's see where this puts him. 8th.
Gonna put him 8th quickest. 23.61.
Done a good job this year. There's been a lot of races. Oh. Wow. Been a lot of races and Zane has shown a lot of speed. Free. The longer this run goes, the freer that car gets.
And it's crazy, Jeff. We're talking the 2nd lap of a run. How are you going to run 100 laps tomorrow?
Sleep well tonight.
Drivers going to have their hands full for sure. Here's a replay of that, Jeff. How much of a handful is that behind the wheel?
Yeah, I just, you know, that's kind of when, Steve, I was talking earlier, maybe just stop. You know what I mean? You know you can't run faster, but that's not the mentality.
I know it's not great, but let's not wreck it to try to fix the other one.
Shane Van Gisbergen, obviously last short track, had a terrific top 5 run at North Wilkesboro.
Lower on the racetrack. He's got to give a little back. Man, I like the middle of the corner being lower.
So you're watching this, you're going to go tell your driver, hey, let's run a little bit lower than you think you should run. Whoa.
Don't do that.
A lot lower than that.
So I'm not going to tell because I believe I truly believe they have to drive what they feel. I would just say, look, here's the Blaney lap 1, Blaney lap 2, show it to him. He might see something else in those laps. He goes, actually, he's used a little bit more brake or he did something different.
Yeah.
But I would just point out my observation that maybe there's something to be said there.
14th quick for SVG, and more importantly, a solid primary race car, Jeff. That could have been ugly as high up as they got in there in 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think the bump got him getting into 1.
Daniel Suarez on the racetrack.
That thing was loose on corner entry. Solid year for Suarez.
Just 33rd fastest in practice, though, Jeff. So they got a lot of ground to gain here.
He has got his hands full right here. He is wanting this stuff to get over. I mean, loose on corner entry, it just, as a driver, it just puts you in a horrible position because you can't attack the corner. And the sequence of the speed on corner entry and how fast you roll the middle, all that gets messed up. You just cannot be on offense.
Just 22nd fastest on that first lap. Here's lap 2. And no better for Daniel Suarez. Got his work cut out for him. A team currently on the right side of the chase cutoff. Your mind immediately goes to what could happen tomorrow in the race. Josh Berry on the track. Kind of bragged on him for his Indianapolis run, Steve. And green so far here in qualifying until the exit of 2. Oh, wow.
You can't leave that new area. He goes right sides above it in the middle of the corner, and it was kind of game over. Now he's just really working on the second lap.
You saw him shaking the car down the back straightaway. He's trying to get the tires cleaned off after getting in that debris. All that stuff just sticks to your tires. A really good recovery.
Wow, look at this. Very impressive considering what happened on lap 1 and going the right way. No way in the green for Josh Berry.
That is not going to end up where they wanted it to be, but an incredible recovery and a great job by Josh just to focus. Forget what happened, forget this. Got in the corner too hard, just was not able to keep control of the car, got it out of the groove, and then smartly all the way down the back straightaway. See that right there? Starts shaking the car, trying to get the tires cleaned off. Just a nice job. Put the bad lap behind him and focusing on the future.
Cindric mentioned that he needed more fire-off speed in his race trim. This would be as much fire-off speed as ever in qualifying, and you can see the 2-car that was pretty decent in race laps, lacking here in qualifying, 20th quick.
His teammate Ryan Blaney watching on. Wow. You're using every inch of that racetrack off of turn 2, Jeff, just to get that car to settle.
You're just maximizing everything. Your corner entry speed has to be right on the edge, but if it's too much, the car won't stick. It's a big challenge, and it's a very tight field on speed. I mean, from 1st to 10th is, just over 1/10 of a second.
Boy, a nice jump for Austin Cindric from 20th to 8th on that second lap. One of the few that we've seen go quicker on lap 2.
He's on the bottom. Corner entry.
Yeah, entry. Didn't exit there.
See right here, he goes all the way to, that's the lowest I think we've seen anybody run.
Pretty struggling in practice, just 35th quickest. And they had the inspection issues earlier today as well to add on to that, Steve.
Yeah, there's nothing about this lap that's really going the right direction. Lots of speed.
He was on the white line that lap. That's how low he was.
Especially considering they finished 5th in this race last year. So a little bit of a surprising Saturday here for this 60 team. Just 26 fastest for Ryan Preece. So far, the 2024 winner here at Iowa, Ryan Blaney, is the quickest in qualifying. More to come on True TV.
Network is the place. Hear from NASCAR crew chiefs on MRN Crew Call. All the happenings from regional touring series and local tracks on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Sprint Car Talk on Winged Nation. NASCAR history on MRN Classic Races. And hear from the drivers on NASCAR Live. MRN podcasts available on MRN.com, YouTube, or your favorite podcast platform.
Every hero's story has a humble beginning. Every legend had to earn their stripes.
Guys like me aren't supposed to do that!
Every superstar had a dream.
It's been a fairy tale season.
Every home track is the start of something special.
That's just good old short track racing.
Oh, a little retaliation. Holy cow! Learn more about NASCAR regional tracks near you at NASCAR.com/regional.
I'm Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the NASCAR Cup Series, live on the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Welcome back to Iowa Speedway in a beautiful Saturday afternoon. NASCAR Cup Series pole qualifying ongoing for the Iowa Corn 350 powered by ethanol. Ryan Blaney, the fastest so far. The Fast Five are Blaney, Kyle Larson, Austin Dillon, Connor Zilich, and Ross Chastain.
Still to go, Chris Buescher, Brad Keselowski, Ty Gibbs, Carson Hocevar, Tyler Reddick, Joey Logano, Chase Briscoe, Christopher Bell, and Denny Hamlin. And then qualifying for the Iowa Corn 350 will be complete.
How about this for Trackhouse Racing with currently 4th and 5th on the leaderboard with Connor Zillich, who's just had just a miserable rookie season, and Ross Chastain needing something positive to happen. Chastain currently 5th on the leaderboard. You know, Ross spent the off week down in the Turks and Caicos, got away, went down to the Islandsman and had a good time down there. So rest, relax, back and ready to go to work, and he's got speed in the race car.
It was amazing. After the checkered flag flew at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Brickyard 400, everybody scattered and basically shut everything down. And then they started to work their way back Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and empty the suitcase, repacked it, and now have come to Iowa for this race weekend.
The track for his qualifying effort here this afternoon.
Just saw Ryan Preece really struggle, 26 quick out of the RFK camp. We'll see if his teammate has any more pace.
It was 18th fastest for Buescher in practice. And by the way, we need to say a mea culpa, at least I feel like I do, to Connor Zillich. We wondered what he was doing. First car out, only ran 1 lap. He's still 4th quickest.
Really nice job.
But to your point, Steve, it's rare to see this happen where the cars that go out early have maybe an advantage. You know, the track certainly not seeming like it's getting quicker as we run along here.
And I guess I'm asking, is that a result of 50 minutes of practice? 2 sets of tires.
Great point.
Like,
Great
is that just
point.
more tire rubber put down in practice than we see most places? And this whole paradigm going to shift when we go to these tracks with more practice?
Interesting, very interesting question. Buescher 20th quick so far. Here's the boss man, Brad Keselowski. We mentioned the nice Indianapolis run, the success here at Iowa in the past.
Brad had a very, very solid year going, and then went through about a month period where
they couldn't do anything right.
No, couldn't finish races, just not all their fault, but just bad days. And look at this lap.
Yeah, Green off of 4. Oh. Not quite, but going to be up there 3rd quick. Does he go for lap 2? Oh! Oh. Wow. Everything was looking so good. And that's how quick things can change at Iowa.
He's sitting there wrecked on the racetrack, and somebody just said P3, 3rd position. I mean, it's been that kind of year. I mean, it honestly has been that kind of year. Decent speed and just cannot finish races. Look how loose he is early, almost on the straightaway it starts. Oh, that is a heartbreaking crash right there after having such a good lap on lap 1. And that can completely turn a weekend around.
Jeremy, he's going to be driving back.
Steve, I know we have said it and said it, but it just goes to show how quickly things can turn at Iowa and how on the edge these drivers truly are.
If you're going to be as fast and as committed as you need, there's just no room, especially right there on entry. This is buy yourself a qualifying trim. Wait until you get too wide in the race and you got a guy on the outside of you and you're kind of going over those bumps, and look at that bounce.
Man,
that's a big impact as well.
At other racetracks, we have bumps, but in like the middle of the corner, Jeff, you could change your entry arc to try to, we say get straight. You can't get completely straight, but you can get some wheel unwound and kind of jump across the bumps and go back to turning. These are at a point where you're going the fastest, the car is squished to the ground with the aero load, and then it starts this, like, as you're bouncing and bumping, you have to start turning the wheel. And if you get the wheel turned and the back is bouncing in the wrong direction, it's kind of game over.
Yeah, I said this earlier during the practice show, but I talked to Blaney this week, and he talked about the most difficult thing about the bump is that at this racetrack, your car, the back of the car can't be just stuck. It has to be free. If it's not, the car will not turn in the middle of the corner and make lap time. But the negative is when you're free, this happens. So watch how early all of this, look at the back of the car, watch it start bouncing. I mean, it's right here, boom, that's the first one. It's followed by another one. He's already out of control. He is already wrecking loose before he even gets to the corner.
That you couldn't have said that better. That wreck, we're going to call it corner entry. That's the earliest entry looseness you're going to see all year. Like everywhere else, you at least kind of get the car 10% into the corner before the back wants to come around. This is I mean, you're barely even cornering yet.
I mean, we saw this here last year. We had several drivers wreck in practice last year.
And in the race, think about all the cautions. We got about everything was pretty clean till about halfway through the race, and then we got caution, and almost every one of them was turn one.
And I will tell you, Jeff and I were both out there in the pace car earlier today, and at a reasonable 75 or 80 miles an hour, you can't even really identify those bumps. There's some bumps, nothing like that. You know, so you could definitely, you can ride the bumps like a Cadillac, but it's probably, you don't see a lot of Cadillacs
win races.
Yeah.
And I want to point out as well, as Ty Gibbs takes the green here, we've seen two drivers spin out, both Cup champions. Two drivers wrecked today, and both of them former Cup Series champions.
Good speed right here, and I will say in the pace car at 105 miles an hour, you can feel the bumps.
Are you saying you went faster than Steve? That's a subtle
No, I
reference.
wasn't saying that.
I'm going to just tell you, I wasn't going to go that fast.
Ty Gibbs, fourth fastest on lap one.
You have to ask yourself, you have that good at lap one.
You're going to do bail on lap
the
two.
Jeff Burton approach.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. Blaney's pole lap so far was on his second lap, correct?
Yeah. Very good point, Steve.
He forced everybody to run.
He did.
Well, Blaney did it. You got to do it too.
Good lap.
Yeah, fourth quickest for Ty Gibbs. We'll have a nice starting spot for tomorrow's race.
Watch this car tomorrow. I just really feel like they're going to be in contention to win this race.
I know a lot of people point to how good Joey Logano was at North Wilkesboro, but Ty Gibbs wasn't far behind had he not had that early speeding penalty. Spent the entire night trying to get back up through the field. This will be an interesting lap, Steve. Carson Hocevar, we heard the radio, was not good in practice. Let's see what kind of speed he can get out of it in qualifying.
No, it's not the best lap, but I don't think he's going to hate it compared to where he was in practice. 16th.
It's a pretty big jump from practice, considering they were 24th in practice, and that was a big improvement from where they spent much of the session.
Sometimes that's all you can do as a race car driver is just go run it as fast as it will run. Please bring me the race car back and let me work on it overnight.
Oh, he said that's enough.
Yep.
It hit the bumps off at 2 and got really loose, and then he got loose again in 1 and 2 getting into 3, and just wise, he said.
Just too loose.
Yeah, you can see how loose it is.
He heard you say, "Please bring me a race car back, Steve."
Right, like Carson can only drive the thing to its limit,
and he will.
No doubt.
No question about that.
This guy right here will also.
Yeah. Tyler Reddick in the 45. Kind of feels like their Indianapolis kind of stopped the bleeding a little bit, Steve. It was only a top 10. It was 10th, but for that race team, as bad as things have been over the last 2 months, he'll take a 10th.
Yeah, I mean, you could have had a better start to the year, and then it definitely cooled off. So
4th, and I felt like he got everything there was on that lap. Back of the car was sliding around. I don't think there was anything else to get, but he's going to try to get some.
23:52 on lap 1. Let's see if he can improve here on lap 2. The answer is no, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought the first lap he did a really good job. You could see the car moving around, but it never got too far out of control. He had put it right on the edge of the grip. There was not much left in that lap.
Joey Logano putting in a qualifying effort. Well, he's free coming to the green, Jeff. As we ride on board with the Hunt Brothers Pizza on board. He's able to gain off turn 4 there for Logano.
Watch his hands right here. Watch his hands.
3rd.
That is as smooth as you will see through those bumps. And I believe that is some of the speed that these Penske cars have at this racetrack is very little wheel input through those bumps.
Yeah, I don't want to take away the lap he's putting up because it's impressive, but his effort looks like he's on a race run. his hands and his speed. Right? Everybody else looks like they're a 100-yard sprint, out of control, and that looked like Joey was on a couple laps of a race run.
Yeah, nice lap for the 22 team, Jeff.
You know, you think about their cars in New Hampshire, they run really well there, and they've got that. You got that big bump getting into turn 3. It seems like they transition through those bumps better than most.
Chase Briscoe, remember the brake issues in practice. Let's see what happens here in qualifying.
I'm going to tell you, as a driver, when you have driven in the corner and pressed the brake pedal and it not be there, on a qualifying lap where it's full commitment, that is something to be concerned about.
20th on lap 1.
Look at his hands compared to what we just saw with Joey Logano. Look at the difference in the wheel input that he has to put in this car. Watch this. All of that, every time you see those wheels moving, that steering wheel moving, he's searching for grip. He's trying to find that grip in those rear tires, and
he's hustling.
Did not have it.
So it will be 20th for Chase Briscoe.
He let that window net down. He wants out of that thing. Not happy.
Tell you what, Steve, Christopher Bell loves this racetrack at Iowa. He did not have any brake issues. Another JGR car. See what he can do here in qualifying as Ryan Blaney watches on.
Pretty low entry. I don't know if that was by design to make sure it was more comfortable, but it definitely killed his exit and down the back stretch.
Loves this racetrack at Iowa. He did not have any brake issues. Another JGR car. See what he can do here in qualifying as Ryan Blaney watches on.
Pretty low entry. I don't know if that was by design to make sure it was more comfortable, but it definitely killed his exit and down the back stretch.
I'm interested to see, Jeff. Denny Hamlin, he had speed, 6th quickest overall in practice, but he talked to Dave about the brake issues, said they weren't there after 2 laps.
Not the grip he's looking for.
So knowing, Steve, that you had those issues in practice, what's a good result for Denny Hamlin and Chris Gale here?
Well, I think anything mid-pack is going to be fine to get your pit pick. It sounds like they're making mechanical changes overnight. They're going to start in the rear either way. 30 seconds, not very good, but you know, you don't want to make the overnight task more challenging by wrecking the race car.
Denny, the final car to go. And for the 3rd time this year, Ryan Blaney and the 12 team on the pole. His first Iowa pole. Former winner here will have the best starting position tomorrow, Mamba.
Yeah, there was a time where we used to see the 12 on top of the board all the time. Ryan, this is your 3rd pole of the season. Was it the helmet? Was it the Rowdy Busch helmet that gave you that little extra speed you needed?
It helped, that's for sure. You know, really cool day. You know, appreciate the really fast car. 12 Menards Pennington Ford Mustang was fast in practice. Was able to lay down a good lap, and honestly, my first lap wasn't what I wanted, and fortunately, we had enough grip. Kind of car came in, changed my lineup a little bit for the second one to run a little bit faster and hang on for the pole. So, yeah, it's a special helmet we got this weekend. You know, it's nice that thing is finally be able to debut, and hopefully we can have him with us tomorrow, and hopefully that helmet makes the trip to victory lane.
You have a good 1-lap car. What about the race car? Do you feel like you have the balance you need to keep that thing up front all day tomorrow?
I feel like we're close, for sure. I feel like we're really close. I feel like run 1 to run 2 in practice, we made a step of improvement from drivability and a little bit of pace in it. So it's going to be a tough one tomorrow. I mean, this track changes a lot. It's going to be pretty warm. It's a long day, long race. So really important to try to keep up with it, but it's nice to start off strong, and hopefully we can continue that for tomorrow.
Ryan Blaney will be starting on the pole for tomorrow's race here at Iowa, guys.
Team Penske starts first and third with Joey Logano up there. But I tell you what, this was an eventful 2 hours, Steve.
Yeah, and hard to predict. Kyle Larson went out early as well. That lap I thought was just going to be okay, and here it is on the front row. Brad Keselowski row 2, but then big contact. I imagine that's going to take repairs. He'll be going to the back.
Here's how it looks, row 6 on, Jeff.
Yeah, you can see Penske's all in the top 12. Briscoe all the way back in row 10. William Byron all the way back in row 10.
Yeah,
some surprising cars back here, in my opinion.
Yeah, the whole field is a little bit mixed up, which sometimes puts on the best show, right? You have Bell there in 11th, Denny Hamlin in row 15, chasing that brake issue. Chase Elliott, he also wrecked in practice. We'll see what kind of damage they have.
Going to have a few cars going to the back tomorrow, I have a feeling, to start the race.
As wild as practice qualifying was, I cannot wait for tomorrow. It's going to be interesting.
Boy, Iowa never disappoints. Always a sellout. The fans are fantastic, and the drivers getting it done on the racetrack as well. An eventful practice session could prove to be an eventful race tomorrow. You can catch it all on USA. We kick things off at 3 p.m. with Countdown to Green, and then the third Cup Series race from Iowa. Congratulations to Ryan Blaney and Team Penske. They will start the Iowa Corn 350 on the pole tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow on USA.